on the campuses of tertiary institutions, pleading to be let into the halls of learning, is nothing to celebrate.
Compounding this situation, even those young people with qualifications sit at home excluded from the economy.
Van Rooyen says the country's economy, its currency and its energy supply all declined when MK party leader and former President Jacob Zuma was removed from office in 2018.
Because of your consistent and unfulfilled SONA promises, they will make sure that your party is severely punished during this year's local government elections.
Van Rooyen has argued the government of national unity has done nothing to advance the country and is instead protecting its own party political interests. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
Statistician General Rizenga Maluleke says unemployment, especially amongst the youth, remains a pressing national challenge. He made the remarks while releasing the fourth quarter labour force figures, which show a decline in the unemployment rate. Unemployment decreased to 31.4% from 31.9% in the previous quarter. Maluleke says any suggestion that South Africa is not facing a serious unemployment crisis is a misrepresentation of reality. He pointed to scenes of long queues of young job seekers responding to recruitment drives by the South African National Defence Force as an example.
When I hear people out there saying that we do not have a challenge of unemployment, those young people that have been walking since Saturday and continue to be streaming towards Thohoyandou Stadium are just but an iceberg of young people that we have always reported about, as Stats has said.
Suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya is expected to appear before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry tomorrow. EWN understands Sibiya's testimony will be heard over several days, possibly into Tuesday next week. In March last year, EWN sat down with Sibiya to unpack some of the rumours around tensions between himself and KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Oren Singh revisits the interview with Sibiya.
As early as March last year, Shadrack Sibiya told EWN that there were attempts by KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi to link him to alleged criminal kingpin Vuzimuzi Cat Matlala.
Cat, they tried to associate me with Cat. They went, they searched him, they interrogated him, they took his cell phones. They found nothing that involves me. They went and arrested some taxi boss somewhere there. They're trying to associate me with that person. I don't know. I've never met that person.
He stressed that he has nothing to hide.
But I'm saying it now on record. They will find nothing in my house. They can come. I don't have anything. I don't have illicit goods. I don't have weapons. I don't have money in my house. They can come.
7 months later, in October last year, a raid was conducted at Sibiya's home by members of the NIU Special Task Force and Crime Intelligence. Oren Singh, Eyewitness News.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has paid tribute to veteran U.S. civil rights activist Reverend Jesse Jackson. Ramaphosa says Jackson's campaigns against apartheid were a towering contribution to the global anti-apartheid cause. Earlier today, Jackson's family confirmed his passing at the age of 84. Jackson was a dynamic speaker and a successful mediator in international disputes. In 2013, he was awarded South Africa's National Order of the Companions of OR Tambo in silver for his contribution to the fight against apartheid. Presidency spokesperson Vincent Magwenya.
On behalf of all South Africans, President Ramaphosa extends his condolences to the Jackson family, the Rainbow Push Coalition, and the many organizations within the American civil rights movement and in causes elsewhere in the world who were inspired by the Reverend Jesse Jackson's principles and leadership.
And train services have resumed on a Spanish high-speed railway line where a collision took place between two trains. 46 people were killed in the accident, which took place last month, leading to the line connecting Madrid and Seville remaining partially shut to allow workers to repair the track and clear the wreckage. The incident is considered one of Europe's worst such disasters in the century. Authorities say they will be monitoring performance closely, emphasizing passenger safety. Gold is trading at $4,920.78 an ounce. The rand is at 16.07 to the dollar, 21.76 to the pound, 18.98 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $68.85 a barrel.
In Northcliffe, there's slow-moving traffic on Beyers Nordia between Judges Avenue and the N1. Hyde Park, look out for those faulty traffic lights. At Jan Smuts and Republic, there's also traffic lights not working. Rand Park Ridge at Beyers Nordia and the N1.
In your sport, Australia eliminated from the T20 World Cup after Zimbabwe against Ireland is rained off. UEFA Champions League playoffs take centre stage. And Floyd Mayweather versus Mike Tyson bout set to take place in the DRC.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 23 and 25 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, the MK party has challenged the ANC, saying it will remove the party from power in municipalities during the next elections.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Get your brain in the game and win big on the brain of 702. Enter now on primemediaplus.com. T's and C's apply.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
.702 Drive with John Perlman is proudly brought to you by Telkom Business. Possibility begins here. Good afternoon, everyone. It's 9 minutes past 3 on Tuesday, the 17th of February. This is 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. Wherever you are listening to us in 702 land, welcome to the show. New figures show a slight dip in the unemployment rate in the last quarter of last year, but the overall picture remains deeply dismaying and alarming. We'll take a closer look at the numbers after 5. In other stories, the desperation of that joblessness, of course, drives people to desperate measures, including rushing across to Springs to dig for the gold that many believe is just below the surface. More on that story after 4 with Skara Mafukwane joining us from Newsroom Africa. President Cyril Ramaphosa last week had his chance to deliver the State of the Nation address. Now it's a week where he needs to sit and listen as his political rivals respond to what he said. Lindsay Dendlinger watching the SONA debate, joining us for an update a little later. And if government scraps the prime lending rate as it says it intends to do, what might this mean for the money you owe or the money that you plan to borrow? We'll be talking about that shortly with Maya Fisher-French, award-winning financial journalist and editor of Maya on Money at News 24. Also, check her out on the Maya on Money website. Speaking of money on the markets today, the all-share is under some pressure, down by 795 points. Losses across the board, but mostly in resources. That index down by 1.3%, with Goldfields weaker by 2.7%. Tiger Brands is down by 5.3%, Bytes by 3.3%, Italtal off by 3.2%. Rand currently trading at 16 Rand and 4 cents against the dollar, weaker by 8 cents compared to this time yesterday. A euro will cost you 18 Rand 97, 21 Rand 75 will get you a pound. The Rand gaining 3 cents against sterling. Price of oil is up by 29 cents, heading back towards that $70 a barrel mark. Not quite there yet, but currently trading, Brent crude is at $68.81 a barrel. Stephen Critters joins us with all the market news at 25 past 4. We'll get sport with Tolakele Mganga. That's big news coming out of the T20 World Cup. Australia hanging by a thread. Their chances of going on to the Super 8 game washed out, as are their chances. Tolakele with the details at 20 to 4. Bali Dlamini, you heard her a moment ago, as the latest news headlines. Karabo Charlie with us in a moment to keep an eye on the roads and get you home. This is 702 Drive. We're live in the place where you live. And if it's happening in 702 land, you will get to hear about it here first. If you can help us, of course, well, we would be grateful and delighted. Stories we've missed, 072 702 1702. Stories we're covering but may have missed the point, 072 702 1702. And if you don't feel like leaving a message but would rather chat, we're happy to do that too on 011 883 0702. 12 minutes past 3.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
Well, the unemployment figures come out every quarter and we go over them. We look at the numbers of people. We look at disheartened job seekers and people who've been unemployed for more than a year. That's 80% of that 7.8 million number that is out there. There are views that there are actually more people unemployed. And then there are people who are working but are underemployed because they're not making nearly enough to make money. We focus on the numbers, we look at the material and economic consequences, but I wanted to spend some time talking a little bit about the psychological and emotional impact on people who cannot find work, because I think that might be something that we underestimate, particularly its connection to some of the other things we're grappling with in our society. I remember talking about this on the radio, probably about 9 years ago. And I remember a caller calling in and saying, you know, apart from all the other things that I am having to go through and endure, I'm left with this feeling that as I get older, my chances of ever marrying and having a family in that way are just slipping by. And he said, as hard as not having money for food and not being able to make a contribution, the sense that the fullness of himself would never, ever be expressed as a person. And that stuck with me for a while, so I thought it was worth revisiting today as we contemplate another set of utterly alarming statistics, that we take stock of the impact on people emotionally as well. So if you've got a personal story to tell, maybe there's someone close to you, maybe you are in a set of relationships, be they familial or personal, where actually you may have work, but the person, somebody you really care about and love, doesn't. Because I'm sure there's a burden that you carry with that, even if you are able to look in the bank and not, be as stressed out as the person you're thinking about. So plenty to talk about. I'd love to get your views, please, on 011 883 0702 072 702 1702. It's 3:15 now. Refuil Letua, I mean, your experience of that, I'm sure you know people who have battled this curse.
Sure. Good afternoon, John and the 702 family. This unemployment issue is it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I've been unemployed. I've also helped people that were unemployed just to get them through the month or whatever time they need help. You get to a point where, I'll just start with myself, you get to a point where, with the rejection that comes, I mean, you're looking for jobs and you get rejected, it breaks you down. I don't, you could be the strongest person in the world emotionally, but there gets to a point where you start feeling it's personal sometimes. You're like, what's wrong with me? Am I not skilled enough? And it gets tougher, especially if you don't have a support system around you. It almost feels like you're the only one that's going through this, and I know a lot of people are going through that. And even when I was helping people that were unemployed, they also felt the same. They felt unseen. They had faith, but they were like, oh, today is a difficult day. And I remember some comments, I won't mention people's names, but some comments were, Rifue, you're the only person that's not tired of helping.
Yes,
because people get tired. Who are you going to ask? Yesterday you asked for 50 Rand from John. Tomorrow it's Karabo. But it gets to a point where someone's like, yeah. Even you must stop. But then are you going to go steal now, John?
Yeah. It's very powerful what you're saying, Karabo. I mean, you've been listening carefully and getting your thoughts together. Share them with us.
Jeesh, I don't even know where to start, because I can't say I know or understand what they're going through, because I honestly have never been unemployed, and I think I'd be devastated if I was in that situation. And it's sad when you see them, maybe when they've just come out of varsity, and you see their ambition and their determination, and then it's just dwindles to desperation, and then desperation becomes despondent. Even when you like try this job out, they're like, I don't care, I've been trying, you know. I remember recently I was driving one of my relatives to one of the labor offices. They were looking for people, and the lines, the queues were so long, and you can just see it in her face that, why am I bothering, you know?
Yes.
And then obviously it ends up to being a depression, which also for us, it becomes difficult to try and encourage them to carry on, because sometimes they're just done, and there's no more energy to, I don't know, to get them back.
They're tired of trying, John.
They're tired. They're tired.
Well, tired of being pushed back, eh? Tired of being pushed back and not even getting to the start line in many instances. So I'd like us to just take stock of what this is doing to people. I think it's important. The money obviously is crucial. The ability to start investing in your life, be it skilling or buying things that you would love to have, you know, putting money towards some kind of secure place to live. All of that is important, and I'm not making light of it, but I think the emotional damage is something that we need to spend some time on as well. And so your contribution to that, please, on 011 883 0702. It's 18 minutes past 3.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Okay, let's find out what's happening out on the roads. Karabo Charlie is keeping an eye on the traffic. Still early days, but stuff can happen from early on. So let's hear the very best or the worst, whichever it is.
Definitely early days, John. At this stage, nothing really hectic to report on. However, it is peak hour traffic, so you can expect some delays at this stage. If you're traveling through the Bryanston area heading towards Four Ways, N1 southbound, this is between Rivonia Road and Winnie Mandela Drive. Also in the Four Ways area, we still have slow-moving traffic on Winnie Mandela Drive between Witkoppen and Bryanston Drive. If you are traveling through Edenville heading towards Bedfordview, Germiston, there's slow-moving traffic. Actually, it's about a 20-minute delay. This is on the N3 southbound between Linksfield Road and Van Buren. Not clear what's causing this delay at this time. Pretty unusual and pretty hectic. So if you are on that route, please let me know. You can WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702. It is a 20-minute delay at this stage. Also, there's slow-moving traffic coming into Bedfordview. This is coming from the Kempton Park area, R24 westbound between Edenville Road and the Gilulis interchange. Like I said, if you have any other issues to report on, you can catch us on X and tweet us at EWN Traffic, or you can also SMS us on 31702.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
What do you think is really at stake here? And what are you hoping for? What do you think could be the consequences of this judgment?
What we're really hoping for is a constitutional court as the final arbiters in a constitutional democracy, that when parliament fails, when the executive fails, it's up to the constitutional court to rescue the country. That is what citizens are expecting, because the institutions we've mentioned, like you've stated, they've had weird reports or views on what transpired. Maybe it is because the career ascension of the different heads of those institutions depends on the very same president they were asked to look into.
Vuyo Zungula, parliamentary leader for the ATM.
Clements Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
This is a message from Johannesburg Water. Water infrastructure vandalism has tragic and dangerous consequences. The theft of manhole covers can result in fatalities, especially among children. Each damaged pipe, illegal hookup, or vandalized pump jeopardizes access to clean water, disrupts service, and threatens public safety. Report suspicious activity to the City of Johannesburg at 0800 002 587. Help combat water infrastructure vandalism. Your alertness can prevent disasters. Johannesburg Water, a water utility that cares.
We're on the ground and in the air with Thulani Sijo, founder of Take a Pic Drones. What's the flight plan for your connectivity?
The need for stable network connectivity is an absolute must in my field.
And with Telkom Business Fiber and Flexon, Thulani uploads high-res tower inspections and navigates seamlessly on the go.
Get Stream Connect Fiber from 399 Rand per month and Flexon 4 Pro from 219 Rand per month. Call 10213 or click telcom.co.za. T's and C's apply. Telcom Business. Possible begins here.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
Why did your data subscribers go up by such a big number?
This massive growth that you're seeing, it's really at the back of our really data-led strategy, underpinned by our data science and CVM play. So, I mean, we've gotten to a point where we can really match customer behavior, to offer in real time using AI in essence. And that's what's been driving our mobile subs growth.
Alunga Seal, CEO at Telkom Consumer.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show, Stephen Curtis, is brought to you by ABSA CIB. Invested in your story because your story matters. ABSA is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Mzansi, you don't want to miss out on playing Powerball and Powerball Plus for 64 million rand in total estimated jackpots this Tuesday. Play Powerball for an estimated 42 million rand and Powerball Plus for an estimated 22 million rand. Do it today. Buy your tickets now in-store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app or cell phone banking. Panda Pusher Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Ituba is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
So there are going to be some changes in banking, and I have to say I'm not entirely sure I fully understand what those changes are all about. Firstly, I'm going to have a little go, but secondly, much more important, we're going to welcome to the show somebody who's actually able to shed some light on this. So the news coming out on various platforms is that the Reserve Bank aims to scrap the prime lending rate in favor of its policy rate. Now, the implications of that could run into many billions of rands. What we want to know, of course, is what difference might that make to you? So let's try and get to the bottom of this. Firstly, what the big picture issue is. What is the prime rate? Why is the Reserve Bank deciding to drop it in favor of its policy rate? And indeed, what is the policy rate? And then, crucially, how might this matter for people who have either borrowed money or are planning to do so? My next guest is Maya Fisher-French. She's an award-winning financial journalist. If you are on News 24 at any time, you'll know she's the editor of Maya on Money on that platform, and she has her own website called Maya on Money. Maya Fisher-French, welcome, and thanks very much for giving us your time. Why does all of this matter? Because it would appear as if it does.
Well, yes and no, John. I mean, I think it matters in terms of reducing complexity, but it's certainly not going to. We're not going to all wake up tomorrow and have our our interest rates suddenly slashed.
Oh, no.
I think it's a very sad state of affairs. But I'm afraid if you were excited and thought, oh my goodness,
yes,
my interest rates are going to suddenly fall, then that's probably the first statement we should probably get out there. No, not necessarily, but it may make it a lot simpler to understand.
Okay, so the prime rate is fixed at 350 basis points above the benchmark interest rate. That's since 2001. Is that the money at which rate at which banks can get money from the Reserve Bank?
Yes, so the repo rate is the way that the Reserve Bank controls the interest rates of South Africa. And remember, the reason it does that is it's its mechanism to control inflation. So if it feels that we're all spending too much money and inflation is growing, it ratchets up interest rates. But because of this link between the repo rate and the prime rate, it means that all of us who are borrowing money suddenly will pay higher interest rates because the repo rate has been adjusted.
Right.
And that is how they influence monetary policy in South Africa. So that's the important mechanism. The prime rate is simply a benchmark for the bank's lending rate effectively above the repo rate. So it's important to understand that it actually has always been the repo rate that's really the important rate. And that rate is they are called the lenders of last resort. And that's probably worth mentioning that banks don't generally borrow from the Reserve Bank. They actually borrow from each other. They use deposits and they borrow internationally. But it is a way that the Reserve Bank uses to control the mechanism in the country.
So just finally, and for absolute clarity, this will make things clearer for people, and you don't see any thing flowing out of this that might lead to people getting better deals when they're taking loans.
We're not sure how this will play out in terms of competitiveness. So maybe I should just make that as a point. So currently we have this prime benchmark, and people all think that the banks are in collusion because they use the same rate, and that's not true. It's got nothing to do with collusion. It's literally, and by the way, it was under Reserve Bank Governor Tito Mboweni at the time who set this 350 basis point spread. So it's a benchmark. And I don't know about you, John, but I remember when I first got my first mortgage, I actually got 2% below prime.
Right.
So the banks can actually go below prime, and they use that as a benchmark. And I think one of the reasons we haven't been seeing such aggressive cuts in lending or in lending rates is because the cost of borrowing has increased for banks. The minute we went into junk status, our sovereign debt, it's all complicated, but our sovereign rating internationally obviously declined into junk status, and the cost of borrowing became more expensive. So there's been a lot less of those kind of 2 percentage points below prime that we used to see. But the prime is always just a benchmark. But if they now move it to the repo rate, and this is where an issue that I've always actually had a little bit with these two different benchmarks is that if you read the National Credit Act, it specifies the maximum rate that you can charge a person for a specific loan. So they have a rate for mortgages, they have a rate for credit cards, for example, which is 14% above the repo rate. So all of them are based on the repo rate. Yet we have this other figure called the prime, which is on our contract. So I think it's going to be a lot more simple for people to understand. And when they hear, oh, the repo rate has gone up by 1%, and they understand it on their statement, it says repo rate, there'll be a better understanding. And I think less of this idea that there's collusion by the banks and this misunderstanding of the prime lending rate. And maybe as well, it will allow a little bit more competition into the industry.
Thank you so much, Maya Fisher-French, editor of Maya on Money at News 24. Some thoughts on these changes to the prime lending rate. 28 minutes past 3.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Well, even if you have a lot of money, you can't always get yourself water. This has been the experience of many people in Johannesburg, some who ordinarily would be able to buy things, but if there's no water in the taps, it's very hard to know where it comes from. We spoke about it a great deal last week. What's the state of things now? Alpha Ramashwana, our EWN colleague, has been keeping an eye on the state of Joburg water and water in Joburg. Alpha, where are we now? There were promises last week. We're getting this under control. Is that happening?
Good afternoon, John. Well, in certain parts of Johannesburg, we're starting to see some slight improvements. In Midrand, they were one of the most affected in Johannesburg. Parts of Midrand, large parts of Midrand, in fact, are beginning to have water now, though in some areas, in some communities, they're still experiencing low water pressure. But generally, that side, we are starting to see some improvements. But in the areas around Brixton, it seems to be still a very big challenge because they did get some water over the weekend, but when they woke up this morning, we were with them actually today, and they told us that they are still struggling with water. Their taps are dry again today. So we got an update from Johannesburg Water, and they say that the Commando system, Deep Sloot system, and Soweto system systems are currently still struggling at the moment. The Commando system is a key system which supplies to areas like Westbury, Auckland Park, West Dean, and the likes. And although it's struggling, there is some water, low water pressure, although in many communities, but they are seeing improvements in those areas. But generally, there are still many communities, John, that still don't have water.
And I mean, what is Joburg Water saying about this? Because I didn't hear Joburg Water saying it, but I certainly heard the politicians talk with great confidence. This is going to be something we'll put behind us, and it's all going to be fine soon. I don't know what they mean by soon, but I think we're pretty close to soon. And the problems still appear to be structural and not just individual.
Yeah, but the politicians in Johannesburg over the past week have been emphasizing that the problem was not only Johannesburg Water, but the bulk water supplier, Rand Water, as well. Rand Water is now pumping at full capacity, but unlike electricity, water takes time to reach systems in Johannesburg. So with electricity, it's instant. But with water, it takes time to pump from the bulk water supplier to municipalities and pumping to homes as well. It takes days, in fact, especially to the high-lying communities. So although Rand Water water is now pumping at full capacity. It's going to take a number of days until that water is able to reach communities in Johannesburg, especially the ones in the high-lying areas.
Thanks so much. Alpha Ramoshwana, EWN reporter, traveling around and picking up information about what's going on in regard to water. If you want to add to that, give us your view on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. 28 minutes to 4. Back to the news desk we go. Mbali Dlamini standing by. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. A very good afternoon. While parts of Johannesburg are beginning to see gradual improvement in their water supply, affected residents have shared harrowing accounts of how they've been struggling to cope over the past few weeks. Several areas, including the southern suburbs and many communities in the northern parts of the city, went weeks without running water. The shortages were caused by system failures at Rand Water, which severely disrupted pumping to communities across the province. Although Johannesburg Water says its systems are gradually recovering, many taps remain dry and water pressure is still low. Alpha Ramoshwana has more.
In the suburban parts of West Dean, a usually quiet, high-walled community, frustration is growing as dry taps have become the norm. 72-year-old Lisa Lowe welcomed EWN into her home, where the first thing visible was dozens of water bottles lined up in her kitchen filled with rainwater. Beneath her kitchen chair sits a large red container, which she uses to store water for preparing her daily meals. As she kneels to pull out the container, she says this has now become her unfortunate reality.
Well, I can use this for cooking once I've boiled it in the kettle, and I can boil it for a bath. Then here in this corner, I have water that I've bought. So this is my drinking water.
Meanwhile, Johannesburg Water says while there are slight improvements, some of its systems remain strained. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Johannesburg.
A Hanover Park mother whose son was killed by gangsters says the imminent deployment of the SANDF to gang-ravaged areas in the Western Cape will bring welcome relief to communities gripped by fear. President Cyril Ramaphosa used his State of the Nation address last week to announce the deployment of the SANDF to gang-riddled areas in the Western Cape as well as Gauteng. Ramaphosa says the SANDF will work with law enforcement agencies to curb gang violence in both provinces. Carlo Peterson has more.
Hanover Park mother Kashifa Mohammed is still mourning her son Rafik, who was stabbed to death by gangsters in the area 8 years ago at the age of 17.
It's so painful to lose a child due to gang violence in Hanover Park. The pain never stopped. The grief never stopped.
Mohammed says the violence in the area has the community gripped in fear.
Nobody's walking outside. Our pensioners are scared to go to the terminus even to go fetch their pension because they have to duck and dive because of bullets.
Mohammed says the SANDF will bring welcome relief, but she fears the gang violence will continue once the troops leave. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News, Hanover Park.
And Hillary Clinton is accusing U.S. President Donald Trump's administration of a cover-up over the Epstein files. During an interview with the BBC, the former Secretary of State says her and her husband, former President Bill Clinton, have nothing to hide. Clinton says the Republicans who are probing her are trying to deflect attention away from Trump, whose name appears many times in those files.
I think everybody should testify who is asked to testify. I just want it to be fair. I want everybody treated the same way. That's not true for my husband and me because other witnesses were asked to testify. They gave written statements under oath. We offered that. They want to pull us. Why do they want to pull us into this? To divert attention from President Trump.
Millions of new files relating to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein were released by the U.S. Department of Justice earlier this month. It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 23 and 25 degrees.
Bryanston, bumper-to-bumper traffic on Grosvenor Road between Bryanston Drive and Leslie. Still in the Bryanston area heading towards Fourways. There's slow-moving traffic on the N1 southbound between Rivonia Road and Winnie Mandela Drive. In Bedfordview, traffic sluggish N3 southbound between Linksfield Road and Van Buren due to a stationary truck.
The top story in EWN, while parts of Joburg are beginning to see gradual improvement in water supply, affected residents have shared harrowing accounts of how they have struggled to cope over the past few weeks.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings,
4 to 6.
An interesting article written by Angelica Roda saying, snack now, pay later, does the law agree? If you eat before paying a South African supermarket, you could be committing theft under South African common law because ownership only passes to the buyer when the sale is complete. So, Rowan, you are a thief when you are eating something while you are still shopping and you haven't paid for it. You are a thief.
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
Stop and think. Will you survive the AI revolution or thrive? Regenesis students are thriving. 11 cutting-edge schools, 111 countries. World-class team of 1,111 with one mission, awakening your potential. Choose from law, business, technology, AI, health, economics, entrepreneurship, public management, skills academy, and digital Regenesis. Undergraduate, postgraduate, upskilling, customized corporate programs. The question isn't, can you afford to enroll? It's, can you afford not to? Enroll now. Regenesis.net. Achieve your dreams.
She loves me not.
Hey,
she
Tibbs, what are you doing?
Matt, I'm trying to decide between flowers or chocolates for Valentine's Day.
Nah, forget that, bud. Get her something she'll really love.
Like what?
Well, Barron's are having amazing deals on Vivos, Polos, and T-Crosses.
Ish, she does need a new car.
Exactly. Barron's have deals on Vivos for $2,990 per month, Polos for $3,990, and T-Crosses from only $4,990.
Get deals you'll love this month at Barron's Woodmead and Bruma today. Barron's, the Volkswagen people.
It was actually a flawless process. It definitely pays to switch. I wish we had done it sooner.
Outsurance business insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know, when you claim, your excess is a fixed amount, not a percentage of the claim. For beauty salons, convenience stores, and all other businesses. Get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Yeah, this is anonymous. It's difficult in South Africa getting a job. Sometimes it's like playing a lot. I've been working as a permanent and got retrenched in 2020 during COVID-19. And ever since, up until today, I've been getting short contracts. And it's been more than 5 or 6 years, not having a permanent. So getting a job, a permanent good job, it's like, playing lot. I don't know. Even on Thursday, I have an interview at the department. So I don't know, maybe I will get a job, maybe I won't. So it's a challenge. I can't even calculate the amount that I've spent going to interviews and applying for jobs.
Yeah, it's a very poignant message, and thank you for that. And I wish you well in regards to the interview that you've just done, but the point made at the end as well. One of the ways in which the different unemployment figures are split is they refer to what are called discouraged work seekers who don't always make it into the total. And one of the totals, and, that point well made that going to just to interview, going to look for work actually is expensive, is really expensive indeed. A couple of you are commenting on the question we asked. Lerato says, having to go to Postnet for printing and making copies. Dean just says, Aish. Musibo says, one major consequence of unemployment is financial strain, which can lead to difficulty meeting basic needs like housing, food, and healthcare. Can also cause stress, anxiety, and impact self-esteem. And Gavin says it's like they can smell that you are unemployed. Yeah, and he prefaces it. Sorry, I didn't see that. He says, when days are dark, and that's picking up on a line of an album from the late Sipho Gumede. He said, when days are dark, friends are few. Lulu says, no one cares about you when you're unemployed. The friends you had, the ones you loved, they are all gone. Mulife, 3 words, poverty and stress. Maputi tries to look at it on the positive side and says self-growth. Nonhlanhla, my family going hungry, and Buyisile, disrespect from the community. Bra, it's very bad to be unemployed. 702 Drive, Takadzeni, rejected by women, is the first. 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. Keep those coming. It's 18 minutes to 4.
EWN Sport.
Let's get the latest news from Tolakele. So without even a ball being bowled, Australia are going home. Explain.
Absolutely, John. They and Ireland have both been eliminated from the T20 World Cup after rain prevented play in the Group B game between the Irish and Zimbabwe. Defeats to Zim and Sri Lanka had left the Baggy Greens on 2 points from their first 3 matches and needing multiple results to work in their favour for them to have any chance of reaching the Super 8s. Zim now moved to 5 points from their 3 games and next take on Sri Lanka on Thursday, with the winner of that one topping Group B. For the Proteas, they were already through to the next round and return to action against the UAE tomorrow morning. Bowling consultant Albi Morkel has reflected on their tournament so far.
I think we were in a very tough group. That game against Afghanistan still gives me nightmares. It could have gone any way. So, I guess the first box is ticked getting through to the next stage. To me, the World Cup starts now. Every game will be a tough game. Luckily we'll be in Ahmedabad again, where we sort of used to the conditions now. So let's see.
The Proteas women suffered a 53-run defeat in the third and final T20 against Pakistan, but still won the series 2-1. Having batted first, the visitors posted 144 for 7, and in response, Marazan Kap wasn't able to bat as South Africa were all out for 91. Assistant coach Claire Sarablanche admits it was disappointing not to secure a clean sweep of the series.
It's not very nice to have so many run-outs in the game, especially since we ran so well the previous game. So I think we let ourselves down a bit there, and we consolidated a little bit with Nadine and Anari getting that 50 partnership. But unfortunately, losing 2 quick wickets after that in that partnership actually cost us the game at the end.
Tyson Fury says he's coming out of retirement to make boxing great again after more than a year out of the ring. Fury will fight Aslan Bek Makhmudov on the 11th of April at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That's in his first fight since December 2024, when he suffered his second straight defeat to Alexander Usyk.
I came back for one reason only, and that's to make boxing great again. Since I retired for the 5th time over a year ago, boxing for me has gone on a downward slope. It's become quite boring, and boxing is at its maximum potential when Tyson Fury is actively fighting. And I didn't say that. An AI, the cleverest AI on earth, said that, ChatGPT. So believe it.
And Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather Jr. have reportedly agreed on a tentative location and date for the exhibition bout. According to multiple reports, the fight will take place in the DRC on April 25th. That's after the match was first announced in September 2025, with few details about the event circulating. Tola Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
At 3:45, let's find out what's happening out on the roads. Let's go to Bryanston, I believe, to start off with. Karabo, what's up?
Yeah, a couple of issues in Bryanston. Bumper-to-bumper traffic on Grosvenor Road between Bryanston Drive and Leslie. On the highway in Bryanston, N1 South, there's also slow-moving traffic on Rivonia. This is on the N1 South between Rivonia Road and Winnie Mandela Drive. In Bedfordview, heading towards Germiston, traffic sluggish. This is on the N3 southbound from Linksfield Road to Van Buren due to a stationary truck. As a result, there's also slow-moving traffic coming from the Edenvale Kempton Park area. This is on the R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Gilulis interchange. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. You're now listening to 702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman. Brought to you by Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
So with the unemployment figures coming out today, small improvement, 0.5% in the unemployment rate. That reflecting the survey done for the months of October, November and December, so the final quarter of last year. We were focusing not so much on numbers in the question we threw out to you, but asking you to just talk to us and tell us a little bit about the emotional and psychological impact on you of being unemployed, or perhaps it's something you've absorbed in people who are close to you. Tobile says, I've been unemployed since 2019. I'm now 48. My opportunities for getting a job are slim. Not working has stripped me of some dignity. My brother supported me, but in 2024, he lost his job. I'm down and out and selling cigarettes at the street corner, making 60 Rand daily so that I can survive. And a couple of others of you are sharing that view. This one from someone who's anonymous says, at 39, I've given up on kids and a family due to unemployment. How do you support a family when you can't support yourself? Tola Kelly, I mean, this would be something, even if it's not your direct experience, I'm sure you've encountered with family, friends, community at large. I mean, what are your observations about, we know the material impacts, obviously people can't get on with their lives, investing in it, moving forward, but it seems like the psychological and emotional consequences are also equally severe.
Absolutely. I think it first starts with, I'm going to follow my passion, and then you just go into, I'll take any job that I can. And then once you can't get that, you just like, you know what, as long as I'm getting some form of money. And then you also have the people, the family members around you that are always saying, oh, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? Like you're just sitting at home and not doing anything about it. You're very much aware of your situation and you're trying very hard to change it.
Yeah.
And then the family is also trying to play their role in keeping your spirits high and making sure that even though they can't exactly give you the amount of money that you need to get by, they're doing their best they can while also making sure they're juggling their own personal responsibilities.
Yeah, and it's hard to keep people's spirits up, as Velem Seni says. Extreme frustration and acute stress. I had 2 university degrees. It took me 4 years to find a proper job. I pray for people to get any livelihood, even if it's not a job, and hope for the best for everyone. Roddy says, simply put, but painfully so, I think, lost friends and even some family members. Gundo, putting a positive spin on it, says, finding time to reflect and pursue some of the interests that I had neglected. Yeah, keep those coming, please, on 011 883 0702 and 072 7021 702. It's 11 minutes to 4.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
At this time, 702 is in conversation with the GGDA's Musi Matema at the launch of the 2026 Gauteng Investment Conference at the JSE, mobilizing investment for growth and jobs. Pledges mean nothing without delivery. Gauteng MEC Lebogang Maile today launched GIC 2026 at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, shifting focus from pledges to delivery. With 312.5 billion rand mobilized, 91,500 jobs projected, and 17 projects already in implementation, Gauteng is turning commitments into reality. Joining me to unpack what this means for Gauteng, South Africa, and the continent is Musi Matema, who's Group Executive at the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency. Mr. Matema, welcome and thanks very much for your time. Welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, John. Good afternoon to your listeners.
So the Gauteng Investment Conference, for people who don't know much about it, what exactly is it meant to achieve? At the end of it, what would need to happen for you to say that went well?
Thanks, John. So this is our second investment conference.
Mm-hmm.
Our first investment conference occurred last year in April. And the investment conference really is the implementation of this idea that we have in Gauteng that despite us being a key economic engine, investment levels are far below where they should be. So we decided to come up with an investment conference, a model which is embedded on the idea that should a pledge be made at an investment conference, we as the state across 3 layers commit to implement that investment conference. So this year, as announced this morning at the stock exchange, we have a target of 200 billion rand, where we'll go to the market and aggressively really get pledges from foreign companies, local companies to say, what is your expansion plans? What is your new capital plans? And it's all in the spirit of injecting fresh capital, as well as making sure we fast track, we retain investment in the Gauteng city region.
First GIC was last year. What's happened in the year between then and now?
2nd of April last year, 312 billion rand worth of pledges in multi-year investments. Since then, the GGTA and the municipalities where these investments were pledged has really rolled up its sleeves to make sure that they turn from a pledge to commitment. To date, we've got about 70 billion rand worth of investments that have actually materialized into tangible investments, about 17 of the 60 projects. And today we actually heard from some of the companies, such as companies that play in the value chain of Heineken, just explaining how local government, how agencies such as the GGT and provincial government really rolled up their sleeves in the spirit of ease of doing business to make sure that any investment that is pledged and announced at the investment conference becomes an implementable project.
So let's go back a little bit and maybe you can take us through the steps. So you hold a conference, company A stands up and says, listen, we're going to invest this thing in this amount of money in a vehicle component manufacturing hub or whatever.
Correct.
What needs to happen next? Because what you seem to be saying to us, Mr. Mateme, is that the government has then got to come in and do certain things for that to happen. Give us a little bit of a brief step-by-step, if you can.
So at the stage of interacting with a company that makes that pledge, there's a due diligence process to make sure that this is really not someone taking a chance. This is a meaningful material commitment to invest fresh capital into the province. Once that happens, there's several players across the 3 levels of the state that are responsible for fast-tracking that. Sometimes it can be a water use license. Sometimes it can be fast-tracking access to the grid. All those have become bottlenecks to how quickly capital can manifest itself in the Gauteng city region, perhaps in the rest of the continent and in South Africa as well. So what we've done as a provincial government is really to make sure all those pledges that are announced, they are fast-tracked. There should be no bottleneck at any level of the state that really stops that. Some of them are at the stage where it's even a home affairs visa, where a critical skill set needs to come into the country at the quickest possible time. So that's the role that we really, really play post the pledge process and the pomp and fanfare of the conference itself.
Let's unpick some of the numbers. So 312.5 billion last year. You're aiming at another 200 this year.
Yes.
Sectors, who's coming to Gauteng and why, or is it a wide range?
It's a wide range. It's a wide range, wide geography. The United States, interestingly enough, was one of the big geo-located pledges, but we had quite a strong manufacturing presence across agro-processing. We also had quite a big property and infrastructure and construction pledge pipeline that was developed there. But over and above that, John, there's something interesting that I want to share with you. So we don't only focus on just what the private sector does.
Yes.
So we've taken the time to also look at all the big projects that are happening across all 3 spheres of government within Gauteng. So if a municipality is working on a water waste plant, there's a specific bottleneck there. We make sure that we put that in the project book, it gets the necessary profile. And our ambition, particularly in this year, is to make sure that we evolve to a stage where a project such as that can get the necessary PPP attention, such that even the public sector projects in delivering public goods to our citizens are also fast-tracked.
What are you learning about the nature of the bottlenecks, the reasons why they exist, but most crucially about how you can, at the very least, reduce them either in number or at least widen the aperture of the neck? I mean, because it's great that the agency's stepping in and doing this stuff, but ideally what you'd want to move to is a situation where those institutions get better themselves.
Yeah, so what we're really learning there, that it's important that a platform such as the investment conference really injects that coordination capital that is necessary to make sure that the state across all its spheres really coordinates in making sure that investments happen, and there is an understanding across all layers of the state why this investment is happening, where the bottleneck is happening. So the real coordination piece is what some of the work that the investment conference does. And it's because one thing we've learned from the previous is that this investment conference has really managed to bring local government into the fray to drive really and unlock all those, which is quite an important enabler. Yeah.
And just finally, you'll look back on this investment conference at the appropriate time. What for you would be a measure of success? I mean, obviously you've set a target in billions of rands, but as you pointed out, there's due diligence, so that target may shift. But in general, year one, often a bang. Year two in everything is often the hardest.
The second album is the toughest, John. The second album is the toughest.
Yes.
But just to in respect of time, so we are confident that we will reach the 200 billion target.
Okay.
But there's two other elements that we are really confident and we want to showcase as Gauteng. Firstly, it's the coordinating power of local government to make sure investments happen. But because of the way in which our province is located economically in the continent, we are also bringing the element of making sure that there is the coordination ability with the rest of the continent. A lot of companies that set up in Gauteng do so with the continent as a market that they are targeting.
Right.
So we'll have quite a strong continental discussion and continental players coming at this investment conference to make sure that there is an accelerated implementation of the continent's ambitions around industrialization.
Lots of work to be done, lots of ideas on the table. We'll follow it with a great deal of interest. We thank Muzi Matema, Group Executive at the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency, and good luck with all these initiatives. We hope they go well.
Thank you.
Now, last year, the inaugural Gauteng Investment Conference secured 312 billion rand in pledges across 60 projects with the potential to create more than 91,000 jobs. Already 17 of those projects, valued at 70 billion rand, are in implementation. Now, GIC, Gauteng Investment Conference 2026, shifts from pledges to delivery, turning commitments into bankable, shovel-ready projects with measurable socio-economic impact. The conference launches today at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, led by Gauteng MEC for Finance and Economic Development, Lebogang Maile. Gauteng is open for business.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
You've been mayor before. Looking at how you left the city and what has happened to it since, what's your impression?
Very, very sad state of affairs. I'm personally warning all the cadres who are occupying positions because of their close proximity to the politicians. In the event Action SA takes over, they must run.
How much does the entry of Helen Zille into this race complicate things for you?
Makes it easy, actually, because when she looks at me, she doesn't see a 66-year man, she sees a boy.
What should residents of Johannesburg bear in mind about Herman Mashaba between now and the time they have to make their X?
Just remember that you have someone who cannot really be bought.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Stop and think. Will you survive the AI revolution or thrive? Regenesis students are thriving. 11 cutting-edge schools, 111 countries, world-class team of 1,111 with one mission: awakening your potential. Choose from law, business, technology, AI, health, economics, entrepreneurship, public management, skills academy, and digital Regenesis. Undergraduate, postgraduate, upskilling. Customized corporate programs. The question isn't can you afford to enroll, it's can you afford not to. Enroll now. Regenesis.net. Achieve your dreams.
Naked people are totally zen. Because naked people spend less time on insurance admin and more time meditating and balancing their chakras. With Naked, you can cover your car, home, and stuff in seconds. And it's all online, so that means no long phone calls. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and start meditating like naked people. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
Driving the conversation on 702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman. Powered by Telkom Business. Possible begins here. This is EWN.
Malema says deploying the army is an admission of police failure, and Shadrack Sibiya gets ready for the Madlanga hot seat. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. EFF leader Julius Malema says deploying the army to help the police curb crime in 2 provinces is an admission of police failure by President Cyril Ramaphosa. Malema says the move by the president was the last resort as his administration struggles with persistent organized and violent crime. Malema has been responding to Ramaphosa's State of the Nation address during the first session of a 2-day debate. Babalondenze reports.
Political parties continue to react to President Cyril Ramaphosa's deployment of the army to the Western Cape and Gauteng to fight gang violence and illegal mining. Ramaphosa last week said the deployment was not an acknowledgement that the police are failing, adding it's about bolstering their efforts on two issues. But Malema says this is not the case.
Under your term, crime is out of control and your deployment of the army is the last resort. You are admitting that you have failed to fight crime.
Malema blames Ramaphosa and the ANC for the current state of affairs in the police.
Mr. President, the rot in our criminal justice system begins with your political party, which has factionalized law enforcement and intelligence on the basis of who emerges in your conferences.
But Sports, Arts and Culture Minister Gayton McKenzie thanked Ramaphosa for the deployment, saying he should consider sending the army to the Eastern Cape. Babalo Ndenza, Eyewitness News.
A former commissioner of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission has testified that the process in the 1990s was made a mockery of by the presidents who were tasked with implementing its recommendations. Yasim Suka has been testifying at the inquiry into TRC cases today. She has given details on the events that followed after the Commission ended its work in 2003 and handed over a report to former President Thabo Mbeki. Homozo Modise reports.
Yasmin Suka has testified about the steps that she believes were taken by former President Thabo Mbeki and Jacob Zuma to impugn the work of the TRC Commission. One of the events that she's recalled is Mbeki's special political pardons process, where perpetrators of apartheid-era crimes who'd not been granted amnesty would be pardoned.
We supported an urgent application to interdict President Mbeki from using the pardons process. And thankfully, Judge Siriti, who granted an interdict.
Suka believes Zuma, who became Mbeki's successor, was also complicit in the pardons process, particularly in an appeal that was brought by Ryan Alberts, who was a member of the AWB.
And interestingly, in this application, he was joined by President Zuma. It does make you think about the role that is being played by these two presidents.
Suka has also testified that Mbeki's pardon process had excluded victims and civil rights groups who wanted to weigh in. Homozo Modise, Eyewitness News.
Locals digging for gold at an informal settlement in Springs, Ekurhuleni, say they are desperate to make money to feed their families despite breaking the law. This follows rumours of untapped minerals near a disused shaft, sparking a gold rush in the area. Scores of people have been digging in a cattle kraal where they believe there are sufficient deposits. The Department of Mineral Resources has warned the illegal miners and the locals of mining without applying for the correct permits. But Nontombi Mgichi, the owner of the plot, says she does not believe that the warning from the department as well as law enforcement will deter the gold diggers.
They say they are hungry and living in poverty. At least here, they will be able to get something, even if it's small.
To this now, suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya is expected to appear before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry tomorrow. EWN understands Sibiya's testimony will be heard over several days, possibly into Tuesday next week. In March last year, EWN sat down with Sibiya to unpack some of the rumours around tensions between himself and KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Oren Singh revisits that interview with Sibiya.
As early as March last year, Shadrack Sibiya told EWN that there were attempts by KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi to link him to alleged criminal kingpin Vuzimuzi Cat Matlala.
Cat, they tried to associate me with Cat. They went, they searched him, they interrogated him, they took his cell phones. They found nothing that involves me. They went and arrested some taxi boss somewhere there. They're trying to associate me with that person. I don't know. I've never met that person.
He stressed that he has nothing to hide.
But I'm saying it now on record. They will find nothing in my house. They can come. I don't have anything. I don't have illicit goods. I don't have weapons. I don't have money in my house. They can come.
7 months later, in October last year, a raid was conducted at Sibiya's home by members of the NIU Special Task Force and Crime Intelligence. Oren Singh, Eyewitness News.
And in Brazil, 5 people have been killed after a fire ripped through an apartment block near Barcelona. The blaze broke out last night in a storage room of the 5-story building. 4 other people sustained minor injuries in what They were then transported to hospital for medical care. According to Spanish media reports, the victims were young people who had gathered on the top floor of that building. Police have opened an investigation into the incident. Gold is trading at $4,912.67 an ounce. The rand is at 16.09 to the dollar, 21.76 to the pound, 19.01 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $68.51 a barrel.
Bedford View traffic heavily backed up N3 southbound between Linksfield Road and Van Buren. This is due to a stationary vehicle. As a result, there's also slow-moving traffic on the R24 westbound from Edenville Road to the Kilulis interchange.
In your sport, Australia eliminated from the T20 World Cup after Zimbabwe against Ireland is rained off. UEFA Champions League playoffs take centre stage. And Floyd Mayweather versus Mike Tyson bout set to take place in the DRC.
A partly cloudy Wednesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg dropping to overnight lows of 14 degrees, peaking at 26. Pretoria 14 and 28, and Vereeniging 15 and 27 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, EFF leader Julius Malema says deploying the army to help the police curb crime in 2 provinces in the country is an admission of police failure by the president.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, it's 8 minutes past 4. Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather fighting in the DRC. Is this meant to, in some way, evoke memories of that all-time memorable, extraordinary fight between George Foreman and Muhammad Ali in what was then known as Zaire, Kinshasa, the venue for the fight? Give me your thoughts on that. I mean, one way to look at it is just to say these are 2 guys, they've retired, they want to make some money, none of our business. Or is there something slightly off about it, a disrespect for boxing history? I mean, you know, to which they might well say, come say that to my face, which I probably would turn down the offer. But there's something very sad about it to me. But that's just me. What do you think? Call me. I'm just sort of getting my brain around it. As soon as I heard it, I checked the date. No, not April 1. It's February the 17th. Yeah. Anyway, give me your thoughts. I'd like to know what your views are. 072-702-1702. Coming up on the show in the next half an hour or so, we're going to go out to Springs. Skara Mafokwane is a Newsroom Africa reporter who's been out at that gold mining, and I put it in inverted commas, that's going on a private property out in Springs near the Guguletu informal settlement. What's actually happening there? Is anyone actually finding anything? Who owns the land? I've got a bunch of questions, and Scott is in a great position to answer it because he's certainly been putting in the hours out there in Springs. Later in the show, more issues arising out of the unemployment stats. I'm intrigued to know about the spike, a substantial one, 35,000 jobs created in the construction sector. If you work in construction, or perhaps either upstream or downstream, maybe you're a subcontractor, maybe you're in the business of providing vehicles, I'm not too sure what the different where the spokes go out of the hub that is a construction site. But if they connect to you and your work in any way, or if in fact you're right at the hub, give me a call. Is there any kind of greater optimism? You know, every State of the Nation address, we hear about the country being turned into a building site, whereas, you know, what we were mainly seeing was, you know, that red and white tape around big holes in the ground rather than any signs of work. But it does appear to be turning, and I'm wondering if you are benefiting from the turn, and if you are, what can you tell us about it? 072-702-1702. Staying with the unemployment figures, we've been asking you to talk to us about the social, emotional, psychological consequences of being without work, and we do that in full acknowledgement of the material impact of not having a job. This is what some of you had to say.
Good afternoon, John. Hope you're well. John, just after COVID, I was retrenched. I lost everything, lost my apartment, lost my car, had to sell everything, started over from scratch. I spent a month sleeping on my mother's couch. That was the most difficult time of my life. I didn't know where I was going to get a 10 rand to go buy data so I can look for work. I didn't know where that was going to come from. Luckily, I was able to work on Uber for a while as an e-hailing driver, picked myself up, registered at school. I'm doing my second year right now, completing a degree. Things are looking up, but I never forget that time and I never want to go back there again. Got to a point where I just wanted maybe to end it all, just finish, just let it all end and be done with me. Anonymous here.
Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for your story of determination and bravery. And I'm just so glad that you got through what you spoke about right at the end there, because we've had a couple of other people saying they felt that they would rather die than have this carry on. Karen says, I've been unemployed since June 2021. No grant, no help from family. I'm almost 50, just a few months to go. Wrong sex, overqualified, underqualified, wrong ethnic group. I was even told in an interview, you are just here to make the numbers up. Yep, but you're supposed to try and stay positive. She asks, what a joke. Keep those coming, please. I think it's important that we hear this, and, you know, my thoughts go out to all of you. And honestly, you have my respect for the way you're battling through what must appear to be an impossible situation. 702 Drive, give us a call if you like on 072 702 1702 and 011 883 0702 13 past 4.
EWN Traffic.
Bedford View difficulties. Karabo Chale is going to try and help you get around them.
Yeah, heading towards Germiston, you can expect heavy delays in the Bedford View area, N3 southbound. From Linksfield Road to Van Buren due to a stationary vehicle as a result. Coming from Kempton Park heading into Bedford View. Traffic also sluggish on the R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Kilulis interchange. In Rivonia, slow-moving traffic. On Rivonia Road between 12th Avenue and Witkoppen Road. Pulls off slow-moving traffic on Witkoppen Road between Main Road and Stonehaven. And in the Bryanston area, you can expect some delays on the N1 southbound from Rivonia Road to Winnie Mandela Drive. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
Peter Major, mining analyst. What typically takes place if there were a find of gold in the way that this story suggests?
The right process, you had to apply to the Department of Mineral and Energy Affairs to prospect a designated area. And the area is designated by you. Whatever reason you had, if you determined you want to go prospect for minerals in a certain area, you had to know a fair amount. Who's the official landowner? You have to pay a yearly fee.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Think fast. Fast downloads, fast streaming, fast wins. Because whether you're chasing high scores, deadlines, or the next episode, buffering is not part of the plan. That's why your home needs the power of OpenServe Fiber. Fast, reliable Wi-Fi that keeps up with your life. And when you sign up before the end of March, you'll score a free Netflix voucher. Level up your home connection with OpenServe Fiber and feel the difference speed makes. Visit openserve.co.za today. T's and C's apply.
Kick off to glory with Hollywood Bets and Asi Shege. Be in the game. Go full speed ahead with the epic competition. You stand to win a share of 4 million rand in cash and prizes, including an all-new Toyota Corolla Cross. Bet 10 rand or more on any soccer fixture or fixtures online or at your nearest branch. Live life in the fast lane. Bet now for your chance to score. T's and C's apply.
Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
The team's on a roll today. Let me focus on payroll. Duty calls in the kitchen. That's why I have a business insurer that is agile and on the ball all the time on all things. I chose My Way Business Insurance, getting 24/7 emergency service and saving on my premiums, plus My Business Assist to handle my admin.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
If you run a business, your vehicles aren't just vehicles. They are capital investments on four wheels. And capital should perform. On Friday, the 20th of February, 702 will take you inside Pro One, an exclusive Stellantis showcase spotlighting the Peugeot professional pickup range engineered for South African businesses, from construction to agriculture to logistics. If your fleet is due for an upgrade and you mean business, tune in on Friday for live insights from the floor. Power your business with the confidence of Peugeot Professional on 702.
Stay with 702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman. Brought to you by Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Let's focus our attention on a really quite extraordinary story playing out in Ekurhuleni. The site is a piece of land that somehow has sparked a gold rush. And I use the words gold rush in brackets, or in inverted commas rather, because there is a rumor of gold on this land. A quiet informal settlement is now something of a chaotic and possibly dangerous place. Somebody who spent a lot of time out there over the last couple of days is my next guest. Skara Mafokwane is a reporter at Newsroom Africa, and he joins us now. Skara, very good afternoon to you. Before we get into some of the intricacies and what happened when, has anybody in any credible way found any gold on this site? Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you, John. I don't know who sits on which side of the fence.
Yes.
To them, they say yes. To us, I wish I was a mineral expert. Interestingly enough, John, this morning I had an opportunity around 8 o'clock. I was with a gentleman at his home who was sifting through the sand, and he showed me in a gold-plated, a plate, which he said, this is the gold that we have been digging for. And what I saw was at least sand coated, which looked like gold. So
yes.
I can't verify that. I wish I was a mineral expert, but they say they have found gold. That's the reason why they've been going there for over 7 days, John.
Is there any possibility that somebody is making money out of this, again in inverted commas, gold rush, Skara, and they've got a couple of people who, let's just say, are acting as influencers, to put it in the politest possible way. In other words, suggesting that, we'll talk about gold we've found as a way, because I believe people are actually paying to prospect.
Absolutely. And you're right. Somebody is making money somewhere with this project, in inverted commas. You ask around, you walk around in the community, you ask yourself as well, John, why is it that for over 7 days, people would keep on going to the same sites, digging and digging, not that they have, to them, they say they have nothing better to do. They found this and hence they're making money out of it. But the interesting thing is, ultimately, whatever mineral that they're finding, where is it going? And that's a question that we've been asking for a couple of days now. Those who we speak to are reluctant to tell us, but they
yes.
tell us that there is, a trade that is going on in that informal settlement. There are people who they sell it to. And interestingly enough, the gentleman I spoke to today said from Saturday he has made at least 11,000 rands. Of course, I can't verify that. It's
right.
what he is saying. But I've seen him, John, from Saturday day he has been going there. And you go to his yard, there are heaps and heaps of sand, which he claims that within those, after they sift through it and they wash it, there are traces of gold that they find.
Skara, give us some geography here. I mean, is this particular area of land, I've heard it described as the size of roughly 2 football fields earlier on 702. But I want to ask you this. Is it close to other areas of illegal mining? I mean, is there reason for people in their own minds to connect this piece of land with the possibility of gold?
Definitely. In fact, there is a mine nearby, which is called Gold One, and there's another one called Impala Platinum. So what happens, and at least what through our investigation, what we were able to establish on was that that community used to be a mine dump for all those mines. So there is a slight possibility, at least from what they say, that it used to be a mine dump. So all the minerals or unwanted minerals by the mines were dumped there. Perhaps that could explain that piece of land, that kraal. Why is it that they say they have found something? And I must emphasize, John, this is something which the municipality said they disputed, although they have not sent any environmentalist, at least to assess what the discovery there. So they are just saying, there isn't any minerals without having tested what this community say they have been finding over the couple of days.
Skara, I mean, who owns this land? I've heard it referred to as private land. I've heard it referred to as municipal land. Somebody's charging people to go there and go about digging and loading sand up. Have you got some clarity you can share?
We did, in fact, John. So it's a kraal, like you mentioned earlier. It's about the size of 2 football fields. It's quite large. So livestock from cattle and goats used to be kept there. I, in fact, spoke to the owner of that the kettles in the morning, and she was there as well on Sunday, John. So she claimed that was her piece of land, but we're able to get more information, at least from the municipality, that is council land. Nobody owns that land. And in fact, council had said this is illegal because it is happening on our land. So the resolution that they took, John, would take your listeners to Sunday, when the Metro Police, the EMPD, descended on that piece of land, John. There were about 15 EMPD cars accompanied by officials from the city as well. But having arrived there, John, what they said is that they assessed the area and it was volatile for them to engage and stop what was going on. And they used the specific word that it was in the interest of public safety that they did not engage. So that piece of land belongs to council. And also what we heard from the municipality earlier in the week was that come the weekend, they are going to take over their land. They are going to close those holes which were dug by those residents of Gugulethu informal settlement.
Sure. Well, that's going to be another flashpoint, I would think. But thank you, Skara Mafukwane, delivering excellent coverage of this over the last couple of days on the Newsroom Africa channel. Yeah, I mean, it's an extraordinary situation. If you live anywhere in the area or know something about this, please do give us a call on 011 883 0702 072 702. Maybe you live in the Gugulethu settlement, or you have a family member or a friend or work colleague who might be there. But anything you can add to the rich mix we've already got from Skara, please do give us a call. 25 minutes past 4.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
So what's on the to-do list for Leo Brent Bozell III?
He has a very clear agenda. One, he wants to convince the South African government to withdraw its case against Israel for genocide. Two, he wants to fix relations between the United States and South Africa. And three, he wants us to move away from having undesirable friends such as Iran, Russia, China, and so forth.
Dr. Oscar van Heerden.
Midday Report.
With Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
In the month of secret admirers, it's no secret that Outsurance could save you money on your car insurance. Like 32-year-old Parushka, who saves a whopping 729 Rand on her 2020 Haval H2. Get a quote now, and if Outsurance can't save you money, ask for 500 Rand or 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years. SMS the word OUT to 45142. That's OUT to 45142. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
For Mamotati and Kensani of Design News, a beautiful room starts with a rock-solid connection. Tell us what was slowing down your growth.
It would have to be slow network coverage.
Now, Telkom Business Fiber lets the team process large renders while the landline keeps supplier calls coming in.
Get Call Light Fiber from 655 Rand per month and unlimited VoIP 1 from 99 Rand per month. Call 10213 or click telkom.co.za. T's and C's apply. Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
Aren't you tired of hearing how tough every bucky is? Tough this, tougher that, and being tougherer. But what about a bucky that's actually evolved? Confidence when you need it. Modern comfort because you deserve it. And next-gen tech that's, well, just smarter. Introducing the Chang'an Hunter range from only 5,299 Rand per month. Test drive SA's better balanced bucky today. T's and C's apply.
Chang'an. Driven to evolve. You're with John Perlman
on 702.
You know, just staying with this unemployment theme that we've been exploring, I'd be really interested to know if you work in HR, and clearly the scenario, there were very, very poignant and vivid television pictures on a number of channels earlier today with the SANDF having Armed Forces Day up in Thohoyandou in the northern part of Limpopo. Of people queuing in it looked like an election day 1994 queue in terms of its scale and the way it was winding. But I wonder if you work in HR, are there equivalents? I mean, if you advertise a job, do you just get absolutely inundated with applications? And if so, how do you start filtering it out? And I would have thought under that kind of pressure, you may miss some good candidates and you might not necessarily get the very best person. I've never done that, although I have done some hiring. And I remember the first time at the NGO, school sports NGO I set up, first time we put out applications for people to come and work there. I mean, the numbers that applied were huge, and it took a while to sort them out properly. So an HR perspective, please, on how you're affected by the massive pressure and huge desperation to find work. 072 702 1702. 28 minutes past 4.
EWN Business.
Stephen Curtis, a very good afternoon to you. Not so good today from what I've seen.
No, good afternoon to you, John. I mean, the dollar is stronger, and that's having all sorts of impacts on the gold prices, pushing that down. So the trade which has pushed the gold price here, the sort of dollar debasement trade is the technical term, basically has sort of gone the other way. So the all share down 0.97%, 119,817 points. Financials are up 0.11, industrials are down 0.22, and then resources down nearly 3% on the day. It's kind of what you would expect, John. So Tiger, so it's not just, by the way, only mining firms, but Goldfields are down 4.3, Harmony down 3.5, Anglo Gold 3.4. You get the drift. Tiger Brands also down 4.69% on the day, and they're of course in the industrial sector. While Sasol are up 2%, and the property group Attack are up 1.77%. Telkom, after their update yesterday, also up 1.4%, and Redefine property group, they're up 1.3%, and Fortress is up 1.5% as well. The number of people who are employed, John, just to sort of take on what you were saying, has actually increased. And you would have seen the unemployment numbers, the percentage of people who are unemployed going down to 31.4 million in the 3 months to the end of December. Let's be clear, that's still about 9.5 million people. Okay, it's not like, we're solving, we found a silver bullet here, but the trend is on the right side. And what sort of seems to hopefully be happening is all of the top level stuff we've been talking about, the grey list and the currency and inflation
Yes,
and
yes.
all of that stuff, is now not just leading to economic growth, but growth with jobs. But, Stephen, don't get ahead of yourself, okay? We'll have to see how it pans out over the next 10 years, frankly, to see if we make a serious dent. The minor BHP posting strong results, able to boost the amount of copper it produces. Their underlying attributable profit up 22% on the 6 months to the end of December. Pushed their shares up dramatically in Sydney this morning. They also say their iron ore business is up by 4%. Their main problem, actually, with iron ore is that they're in a very tough negotiation with the iron ore buyer in China, which is owned by the state. And they've been in this tough negotiation for a little while. So they've got the iron, they're just battling to sell it. US stock futures edging lower ahead of the open. Still concerns about AI disruption. Investors also watching the talks between the US and Iran underway in Oman. The gold price much lower, John. $4,893.11. Platinum, $2,004.10. Brent crude, $67.57. The rand to the dollar now over the 16 mark, so 16.08 to the euro 19 exactly, to the British pound 21.74. Stephen Crotus, EWN Business.
Thanks, Stephen. Back with us in about 54 minutes time. Right now at 28 minutes to 5. It is time to get some more news. Here's Mbali Dlamini.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Residents from gang-infested Hanover Park say they have many questions about the deployment of the SANDF, saying previous deployments did not work. With hundreds killed in ongoing gang violence in various communities in the Western Cape and Gauteng in the past year, President Cyril Ramaphosa announced last week that the SANDF would be deployed to both provinces. Ramaphosa says the army will work with police to quell the violence that has left communities gripped in fear. Carlo Peterson reports.
Hanover Park resident Kashifa Mohammed says a previous SANDF deployment in 2019 brought short-term relief from gang violence.
But when the army left our area from 2019 till 2026, the crime rise.
Mohammed says residents are questioning why the SANDF are being deployed to the area again.
Is the army mandated to arrest shooters? I don't think so. They only have one mandate, and that is shoot to kill. And what if they shoot our innocent children?
Mohammed says government should brief the community about the deployment and what role SANDF troops will play in curbing gang violence. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News, Hanover Park.
The Department of Sport, Arts and Culture says it has established a team to closely monitor how national federations spend their funds. This follows concerns raised in Parliament about why funding should continue to be allocated to federations that do not use the money for its intended purposes. The department briefed Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Sport, Arts and Culture today, outlining the current state of financial support. Recent reports have pointed to serious challenges, including alleged misallocation of funds, poor governance and failure to support athlete development as required. Officials now say federations that fail to comply with funding conditions will not be considered for future allocation. Deputy Director General of the department, Vincent Campbell, says stricter oversight measures are now in place.
It was also a requirement in terms of our own regulations that we close off a particular financial year having received all the reports, all the compliance matters before we consider you for the subsequent year. So we've got a team in place that monitors that particular aspect here.
And Hillary Clinton is accusing U.S. President Donald Trump's administration of a cover-up over the Epstein files. During an interview with the BBC, the former Secretary of State says her and her husband, former President Bill Clinton, have nothing to hide. Clinton says the Republicans who are probing her are trying to deflect attention away from Trump, whose name appears many times in those Epstein files.
I think everybody should testify who is asked to testify. I just want it to be fair. I want everybody treated the same way. That's not true for my husband and me because other witnesses were asked to testify. They gave written statements under oath. We offered that. They want to pull us. Why do they want to pull us into this? To divert attention from President Trump.
A partly cloudy Wednesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Lows of between 14 and 15 degrees and highs of between 26 and 28.
Kilner Park, Pretoria, there's an accident seen on the N1 northbound before Sturmville, causing more than a 30-minute delay all the way from the Flying Saucer interchange, Hermanstad. That's leaving the Pretoria CBD. There's traffic pressure on Eskiam Pahlele between Boom Street and the R80.
The top story in EWN, residents from gang-riddled Hanover Park say they have many questions about the deployment of the SANDF in that area, saying previous deployments simply did not work.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
I have to say, I love the fact that you featured such top talent to voice the game. You've got your Lazola Gola, you've got Ntate Jerry Mofokeng, Tumi Morake, Mam Abigail Kubeka. How did you go and get the best of the best?
I think that was crucially important for us because I think in the last few years we've particularly seen almost the Wakandification, some people call it, of the African accent. So for us, as much as possible, we wanted to try and get voice actors who sounded like they were from that place. And for us, it would have been a waste of time to not have African actors and accents playing those roles.
Ben Myers, CEO and Creative Director at Nyamakop.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
This Saturday, the Lions clash with the Hollywood Bets Sharks in the Vodacom United Rugby Championship. It's happening at Ellis Park Stadium, featuring fierce rivalry, big hits, and an electric atmosphere. You do not want to miss this unforgettable showdown when two South African giants go head-to-head. Grab tickets for all your friends and family at ticketpros.co.za now and arrive early at Ellis Park Stadium to get in the match day vibe for the Lions versus the Hollywood Bets Sharks.
Listen up, corporates. Wrap up your tax year on a meaningful note by donating to DKMS. Your support assists in fighting life-threatening blood cancers by enabling DKMS to recruit more potential donors as well as raising patients' chances of finding a match. And there's an added advantage. Enjoy the benefits of a Section 18A tax certificate, which grants your company a well-deserved rebate. Be a force for good this tax season by giving those in need a new lease on life. Email fundraising at dkms-africa.org. to donate today.
Naked people are great dancers. Because naked people spend less time on insurance admin, they have more time to perfect their moves. Go to naked.insure now, get a car insurance quote in 90 seconds, and get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Good afternoon, 702 Land. Vincent here. This is so really funny that when people now discover the so-called gold, and now the council all of a sudden has a problem. But now when the Basotho people and the Mozambicans, they are doing this illegal mining and harassing and tormenting people, they don't say anything. Then when the locals do something, they say something. So why aren't they closing all these mines? Why are they not closing them? Why don't they rehabilitate all this? This is so really funny, guys. South African government is such a weak government. Thank you.
Sure, John. For my wife and I, we both recently started businesses and we put out ads for secretaries. They just need admin skills and a matric, so not a very high level of qualification required. For one position, we had 1,200 applicants, and for the other position, about 1,000. So those are for individual jobs. It's an insane amount of work that HR people need to do.
Yeah, and it really is a reflection that people just absolutely want to find something, anything, if they possibly can. We're going to come back to this a little bit later because I want to keep talking about unemployment and the numbers later in the show. But I did ask people what they thought at the beginning, at the top of the hour, at just after the news at 4, what they thought about the fact that Mike Tyson is fighting Floyd Mayweather in the DRC. And I was just saying I'm not impressed by this at all. But Lesego is, and he says, have you seen how fast a 50-plus Mike Tyson is? Nope, but he fought a guy called Jake Paul who isn't really a boxer and didn't he lose that fight? Anyway, Mayweather himself is no spring chicken. Methinks this fight will be an interesting one to watch, and then calls it Rumble in the Jungle version 2. So you're saying it's going to be something like this?
Once there was a battle there in Zaire, 100,000 people there in Zaire. All those people gathered there in Zaire, to see the rumble in the jungle there in Zaire.
I'm sure you remember that song. If you don't, look it up. Johnny Wakelin in Zaire from 1976. But if you really want to immerse yourself in that fight, watch the Oscar-winning documentary called When We Were Kings. It is a magnificent bit of storytelling, filmmaking, and then, of course, there was the fight itself. When We Were Kings, a glorious film. Trying to remember when it came out, my mind somehow says 97. I'll give you all the details a little bit later, but if you've never seen it, go watch it. It's 18 minutes to 5.
EWN Sport.
So, Tolekele Sundowns have got something to look forward to in the Champions League. I believe the draw's just been made, and they've got something right up ahead tomorrow night. You've got details on both.
Absolutely, John, and they'll face Stade Malien in the CAF Champions League quarterfinals following the draw in Cairo today. Should they advance, they'll then face either Esperance or Al Ahly in the semi-finals. In the interim, the Brazilians are gearing up for tomorrow night's Betway Premiership top-of-the-table showdown with leaders Orlando Pirates. And with the Buccaneers looking to end their 14-year wait for the championship, Adeslam Adu says there's no room for error against the defending champions.
This season we add some pace, some strength as well, and some personality, some character of the team. I think we had time to build that, and I just want to give them credit. It's a big test for us, of course, in this kind of game, to test our strength, our personality again in that kind of game.
Marumo Gallants have confirmed a temporary move to Lucas Moripe Stadium from Dr. Petros Molimela Stadium. The move is a result of a pitch and infrastructure maintenance which has resulted in the Bloemfontein Stadium not meeting PSL standards. Gallants have also assured fans they are not relocating, with the move coming on the back of them being taken to court by Morocco Swallows. That's regarding the sale of the latter's PSL status. Switching over to the T20 World Cup, where Albi Morkel insists that Kagiso Rabada will bounce back. That's after his horrible final over against Afghanistan that forced their clash into a double super over. Morkel's working as a Proteas consultant during the tournament and has shared his thoughts on the bowler ahead of tomorrow's group game against the UAE.
It can happen to any bowler at any stage where the pressure just gets to you and you maybe have an off day, but he's still our premier fast bowler, and we're going to double down on him and back him all the way. So I think that's the only way to go. If you get too tactical or technical now with guys like that, who knows what they're doing, you can confuse them. So for him, it's just the fact of accept that performance, move forward, and be better next time.
And Australia and Ireland have both been eliminated from the T20 World Cup after rain prevented play in the Group B clash between the Irish and Zimbabwe. Defeats to Zim and Sri Lanka had left the Baggy Greens on 2 points from their first 3 matches and needing multiple results to work in their favour for them to have any chance of reaching the Super 8s. Zimbabwe now move to 5 points from their 3 games and next take on Sri Lanka on Thursday. The winner of that one will top Group B. Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Cars.coza. Let's find what moves you. Pretoria Kilner Park area, that's going to be tricky. So listen up if you're heading that way or trying to get out of there. Karabo Chale.
Yeah, true. There's an accident scene, John, on the N1 northbound. This is before Sturmville in the Kilner Park area, causing more than a 30-minute delay all the way from the R21 Flying Saucer interchange in Groenkloof. That's in Pretoria as well. Expect some delays on George Storer Drive between Du Toit and the Fountain Circle, leaving the Pretoria CBD. There's traffic pressure in Hermanstad on Eskiam Patlele between Boom Street and the R80 Bedford View. Traffic remains heavily backed up. This is on the N3 southbound from Linksfield Road all the way to Van Buren due to a stationary vehicle. As a result, traffic is pretty slow. This is on the R24 westbound from Edenville Road to the Gilulis interchange in Rivonia. Traffic sluggish on Rivonia Road. This is between the 12th Avenue and Witkoppen Road. Pulls off. Also slow-moving traffic on Witkoppen Road between Main Road and Stonehaven in Sunning Hill. Also expect some delays on Witkoppen Road. This is between Rivonia Road and Maxwell. And in Bryanston, heading towards Four Ways, there's slow-moving traffic. N1 southbound from Rivonia Road to Winnie Mandela Drive. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
It's Carl de Koza here in another Carl de Koza production starring Carl de Koza and Cars.Koza. In this country, we don't just drive cars, we love cars. So slide into our DMs on WhatsApp and let's find what moves you.
Cars.Koza.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
So just to finish what I said about that movie, about the Rumble in the Jungle, When We Were Kings, 1996 it came out, won the Oscar for Best Documentary, directed by someone called Leon Gast, who I must admit I don't know very much about, but it's really a terrific movie. I was just looking at where it's available. Seems you can get it on Apple TV and Amazon Prime. I don't know if that has geographical limitations because sometimes things are available in the US and not here. But anyway, that's a good place to start. You have Google, I'm sure, and you know how to use it.
In the last 24 hours, this is what's happened in your world.
Former Johannesburg Mayor Herman Mashaba has thrown his hat in the ring to reclaim the city of Johannesburg's mayoral chains. Mashaba is one of 5 Action SA members who were interviewed to become the party's mayoral candidate. Mashaba says he's not threatened by Helen Zilla's campaign to become the city's mayor.
I'm dealing with someone who, when she looks at me, she doesn't see a 66-year man, she sees a boy, which is an advantage for me because I know I was never a boy.
Meanwhile, the ANC and EFF have yet to announce their mayoral candidates, while Kenny Gunene will lead the Patriotic Alliance's campaign.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
Corporates That Care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. Catch Corporates That Care this Wednesday at 10 to 9, featuring Metropolitan. Their Chief Marketing Officer, Lindiwe Gumede, will be in conversation with Bongani Pingwa. And join us every Wednesday as we highlight the efforts of companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Corporates That Care is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor. 702, let's walk the talk and make a difference together.
When you train for results, you don't quit halfway. Earn up to 7.35% interest with a Nedbank Just Invest account. Access your money within 24 hours. Keep your money agile. Get money fit with Nedbank. See money differently. Nedbank. For more information, visit nedbank.co.za. We're licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
When the brightest brains collide in the biggest general knowledge quiz in Gauteng, it's time for the Brain of 702.
Yes, indeed, and it is that time right now. It is time to put your brilliance on display in the Brain of 702. Prove your mental might for your chance to win a share of 130,000 Rand in cash. And of course, there's the highly coveted title of the Brain of 702. You could win 1,500 Rand in this round and another 1,500 Rand if you win tomorrow on Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa. The Brain of 702, your brain, our stage. Are you ready to step into the spotlight? The winner of this round gets 1,500 Rand and will be crowned the Brain of the Day and go on to play again tomorrow and possibly through the rest of the week, where on Friday afternoon they stand to win 10,000 Rand as the weekly brain of 702. Ultimately, you could go on to win a further 30,000 Rand should you be declared the brain of 702. So, go on. You want to be part of the action, I'm sure. Register on primemediaplus.com and we could call you to put you through our qualifier. Two people who've already done that and more besides our two contestants for today. Mxolisi Mkonza was a winner yesterday, twice, won again this morning with 6 points and is back on the line from Pretoria. Mxolisi, welcome back and the best of luck to you.
Thank you very much for having me back, Mr. John Perlman.
You are up against Rehana Kachalia, who is on the line to us from Melville, playing for the first time. Rehana, welcome, and the very best of luck to you as well.
Thanks, John.
Okay, so we have our contestants. We're about to start, but we do have some rules that I need to share with you. You have 60 seconds to answer 15 questions. The contestant who gets the most answers correct is the winner. If scores are equal, we will play sudden death. Remember, if I ask you to spell a word, please spell that word. Otherwise, I will spell it. If I get it right, you don't get a point. To state the blindingly obvious, so you may as well give it a go and see if you can pick up one. The other thing just to say is I do need your answers nice and promptly. Okay, I think we've got the rules clear. They're not very complicated. It's time to get going with the show. And Mxolisi, if you're ready, and I know you are, your time starts now.
3, 2, 1.
Complete the saying, many hands make what work?
Light work.
Correct. Spell the word wealthy.
Wealthy.
Correct. The public holiday on 16 December is called Day of what?
Reconciliation.
Correct. Complete the title of the John Travolta movie Saturday Night What?
Fever.
Correct. True or false? The colors on the Austrian flag are red and white.
True.
Correct. Botany is the scientific study of what?
Plants.
Correct. Which American city is known as the city of brotherly love?
Oklahoma.
Philadelphia. Which horoscope sign is represented by a crab?
Cancer.
Correct. What is the name of Jordan's capital city beginning with an A?
Pass.
Aman, true or false? Wax is the main substance used to make crayons.
True.
You got it in, and I'm just looking at the judges. Okay, you got yourself a score of 8, Mxolisi. So you're two better than you did this morning, putting you in a good position. But Rehana still has her chance to show us what she can do. And Rehana, if you're ready, I'm certain you are, your time starts now.
3, 2, 1.
Complete the saying, two what are better than one?
Hands.
Heads. Spell the word musical.
Musical.
Correct. The public holiday on 26 December is called Day of what?
Day of Reconciliation.
Goodwill. Complete the title of the American late-night sketch comedy Saturday Night What?
Live.
Correct. True or false? The colors on the Greek flag are blue and white.
True.
Correct. Zoology is the scientific study of what?
Animals.
Correct. Which U.S. city is known as the City of Angels?
Los Angeles.
Correct. Which horoscope sign is represented by scales?
Libra.
Correct. What is the name of Lebanon's capital city beginning with B?
Beirut.
Correct. True or false? Calcium carbonate is the main substance used to make chalk.
True.
Yep. Okay. I managed to get it out. You managed to get it in. So you have come up, Rehana, with a score of 8. So what it means, since you both got a score of 8, is we all take a deep breath. I take a gulp of water because as you can hear, in all the excitement, I need one. There we go. Lubricated and ready to deliver sudden death. Now, let me explain to you exactly how sudden death works. You're each going to get a question. and it's going to be in the order that we did it before. Mxolisi went first, so he will go first again. And you need to answer promptly, as I said, just to advise you, there's no point in passing on a question because it literally is your one shot. So, sudden death it is. Mxolisi, you go first. What do people fear if they suffer from bibliophobia?
Dogs.
Correct. Rehana, what do people fear if they suffer from equinophobia?
Horses.
Correct. Back to you, Mxolisi. Which element is the most abundant in the human body?
Oxygen.
Correct. Coming back to Rehana, which compound forms more than 60% of the human body?
Water.
Correct. We are back with Mxolisi and we're still tied up. In which country, Mxolisi, are the world's most Mandarin speakers?
China.
Correct. Coming to Rehana again. In which country are the world's most Hindi speakers?
India.
Correct. Mxolisi, what is the main ingredient of meringue?
Eggs, egg whites.
Correct. Coming to Rehana once again. From which fruit is the syrup grenadine obtained?
Passion fruit.
Pomegranates. Boy, you took it deep. You went far. I thought I was going to run out of questions, Rehana. You put up a brilliant fight. Pomegranates. We'll raise a glass of grenadine to you and say well done on a fabulous fight. But Mxolisi, congratulations. You are, I have to say, still our reigning brain and the brain of the day. You've won 1,500 Rand thanks to 702, and you will play again with Bongani Bingwa tomorrow. If you're still standing after that round, you'll be the brain of the day and continue the battle for brilliance right here on 702 Drive. Now, I'm sure you're listening and thinking, I can do this. I would love to have a stab. Why not? You can and you should. For a chance to prove your mental might and to win your share of 130,000 Rand, visit primemediaplus.com to register. You could become the brain of 702 and walk away with the ultimate general knowledge prize.
You're now listening to 702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman. Brought to you by Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Coming up for the news at 5 after 5 o'clock, we are going to be looking at the fact that in the midst of unemployment figures which show some improvement, but nevertheless remind us of just how horrendous the joblessness situation in South Africa is. One promising sign is a nice spike in the number of jobs created in construction. 35,000 is the total there. We'll talk after 5 to Roy Mnisi, Executive Director at Master Builders South Africa. Is this some sort of sign that we are seeing a little breakthrough in construction? So often we've heard we're going to make the country a building site, infrastructure-led growth, etc. You've heard it many, many times, but it may well be that we've turned a little corner here. Not down the home straight, nowhere near the finish line. But if we're creating jobs in construction, I would have thought there would be jobs related to construction that might also either become more secure or open up. Small thing I want to ask you about, and maybe people who are either pharmacists or who work in the production of pharmaceuticals, or maybe the doctors can weigh in on this. I'm chuckling about it because I had to chuckle about it when it was actually happening. I have had reason over a little while to look at medicine, at drugs, and what they can do for you. So I looked at a medication that deals with rash, and I looked at the side effects, and one of them was rash. And I looked at medication that deals with headaches, and I looked at the side effects, and one of them was headaches. And then a while back, I looked at some medication that dealt with dizziness. And yep, you guessed it. One of the side effects of that is dizziness. So I'm genuinely curious here. I mean, there's a part of me that thinks, yeah, right. The other says, well, okay, drugs and drug use can become the site of litigation. You may as well cover all your bases. But I am genuinely perplexed. So if you're a pharmacist or a doctor or someone who's involved in the research into and manufacturing of medication, explain this to me. I mean, why, if you're taking something for rash, might you get a rash? Perhaps you can help me with that. 0727021702. It's 5 o'clock.
This is EWN.
1 million foot and mouth vaccines expected in the country on Saturday, and the stats boss is concerned about youth unemployment. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. 1 million foot and mouth vaccines are expected to arrive in the country by Saturday to meet government's target of inoculating 80% of the national herd by December. Agriculture Minister John Steenhuisen made the announcement in Parliament this afternoon during a debate on the State of the Nation address. Steenhuisen has welcomed President Cyril Ramaphosa's declaration of the disease as a national disaster, which he says will help to speed up the intervention process.
We have for the very first time a plan backed by science and that has involved the private sector every step of the way. This plan will succeed, and when it does, the consequences will be profound and positive. As markets previously closed to South African beef will once again be available to us, and certainty will return to the red meat sector.
A further 5 million vaccines from 3 different international suppliers are also on order for a March delivery amid criticism from the commercial farming sector that they may not vaccinate their own cattle. Steenhuisen has today also announced that private vets may now register to assist with the state's mass vaccination campaign.
Mass vaccination will continue and be accelerated. Already more than 2 million vaccines have been administered, and daily vaccines are being administered across the country. We're also working on veterinary capacity, and it is being expanded. And Mr. President, today I can also announce that in terms of the Animal Diseases Act, private veterinarians can register to administer vaccines as part of the rollout strategy.
Statistician General Rizenga Maluleka says unemployment, especially amongst the youth, remains a pressing national challenge. He made the remarks while releasing the fourth quarter labour force figures, which show a decline in the unemployment rate. Unemployment decreased to 31.4% from 31.9% in the previous quarter. Maluleka says any suggestion that South Africa isn't facing a serious unemployment crisis is a misrepresentation of reality. He pointed to scenes of long queues of young job seekers responding to recruitment drives by the South African National Defence Force as an example.
When I hear people out there saying that we do not have a challenge of unemployment, those young people that have been walking since Saturday and continue to be streaming towards Thohoyandou Stadium are just but an iceberg of young people that we have always reported about, as Stats has said.
A former commissioner of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission has testified that the process in the 1990s was made a mockery of by the presidents who were tasked with implementing its recommendations. Yasmin Suka has been testifying at the inquiry into TRC cases today. She has given details on the events that followed after the commission ended its work in 2003 and handed over a report to former President Thabo Mbeki. Khomotso Modise has more.
Yasmin Suka has testified about the steps that she believes were taken by former President Thabo Mbeki and Jacob Zuma to impugn the work of the TRC Commission. One of the events that she's recalled is Mbeki's special political pardons process, where perpetrators of apartheid-era crimes who'd not been granted amnesty would be pardoned.
We supported an urgent application to interdict President Mbeki from using the pardons process. And thankfully, Judge Siriti, who granted an interdict.
Suka believes Zuma, who became Mbeki's successor, was also complicit in the pardons process, particularly in an appeal that was brought by Ryan Alberts, who was a member of the AWB.
And interestingly, in this application, he was joined by President Zuma. It does make you think about the role that is being played by these two presidents.
Suka has also testified that Mbeki's pardon process had excluded victims and civil rights groups who wanted to weigh in. Khomozo Modise, Eyewitness News.
Locals digging for gold at an informal settlement in Springs say they are desperate to make money to feed their families despite breaking the law. This follows rumours of untapped minerals near a disused shaft, sparking a gold rush in that area. Scores of people have been digging in a cattle kraal where they believe there are sufficient deposits. The Department of Mineral Resources has warned the illegal miners as well as locals of mining without applying for the correct permit. But Nontombi Mgijima, the owner of the plot, says she doesn't believe the warning from the department as well as law enforcement will deter the gold diggers.
They say they are hungry and living in poverty. At least here, they will be able to get something, even if it's small.
And train services have resumed on a Spanish high-speed railway line where a collision took place between two trains last month. 46 people were killed in the incident, leading to the line connecting Madrid and Seville remaining partially shut to allow workers to repair the track as well as clear the wreckage. The incident is considered one of Europe's worst such disasters this century. Authorities say they will be monitoring performance closely, emphasizing passenger safety. Gold is trading at $4,912.67 an ounce. The rand is at 16.09 to the dollar, 21.76 to the pound, 19.02 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $68.51 a barrel.
Heading towards Kilner Park, there you can expect about a 30-minute delay. This is on the N1 northbound between the R21 Flying Saucer interchange and Sturenville Road due to an earlier accident. In Hatfield, also expect some delays approaching the intersection of Linwood Road and Brooklyn Road. And in Hermanstad, leaving the Pretoria CBD, traffic pressure on Eskiam Pahlele between Boom Street and the R80.
In your sport, the Proteas target a strong finish to their group stage campaign at the T20 World Cup. Adeslam Adu embraces stadium switch ahead of top-of-the-table Betway Premiership clash. And Tottenham Hotspur accused of editing meeting minutes after concerns over relegation.
A partly cloudy Wednesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg dropping to overnight lows of 14 degrees, peaking at 26. Pretoria 14 and 28, and Vereniging 15 and 27 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: 1 million foot-and-mouth vaccines are expected to arrive in the country by Saturday to meet government's target of inoculating 80% of the national herd by December.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
8 minutes past 5 on 702 Drive. Thanks for joining us and thanks for staying with us. It's great to have you with us on this Tuesday in February. A lot of focus on unemployment throughout the day. Well, certainly since the latest figures for Q4, the last 3 months of 2025 came out. And we're going to focus on an area where there has been a growth in jobs. Construction created 35,000 new jobs in Q4 towards the end of the year, which is interesting actually because the industry does kind of tend to wind down in December. So I would assume that those people would have got those jobs with the sure knowledge that they could go away for builders' holidays, if indeed such a thing still exists, in the full knowledge that come January they will have a job and some work and a better chance to build what it is that they want to make of themselves and the people they love around them. So Roy Mnisi is Executive Director at Master Builders South Africa. Is this a flash in the pan, or is it a sign that an industry that has gone through massive amounts of difficulty and trouble might be on the right track and taking a turn for the better? I hope it is. So a couple of you have continued to respond to the question I asked, and we'll play some of your thoughts in a moment. I was just saying, with the massive pressure on people looking for, pressure of people looking for work because of the pressure on them, what's it like doing HR? It must be very, very hard indeed. And we got one message already saying secretary's post, 1,200 applications. How do you begin to sift through all of that, and how do you make sure you get the very best person? Can't be easy. It's not easy for anyone under these circumstances. So we'll hear some of your thoughts on that particular question. We've got a traffic update for you. Much later in the show, we've got some music that we're looking forward to sharing with all of you on 702 Drive. But first, your thoughts.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi John, Saint here, phoning from Carltonville area. Thanks for a fantastic show. We had a position recently for a tea lady come cleaner. Basic things, she must prepare coffee and tea for visitors, and then just keep our offices clean. And we received over 600 applications. Our email was flooded. There are many people out there looking for work. It's quite sad.
John and the listeners. I'm in HR, and I actually focus more on recruitment, and I work for an international organization. We receive a lot of applications, but luckily we have a system, an AI system that assists with going through the application, so that there is questions that candidates have to answer that will help us shortlist, but there's also assessments that they have to do that will help us shortlist. So by the time we go through the applications, they are much less or lesser than the number of candidates that actually clicked apply and went through, the assessments and answered all the screening questions. So that's how we manage the numbers. So thank goodness for AI.
Yeah, I mean, we need to talk about that at a later stage, actually, and just find out, how accurate and precise is AI in that filtering work? I mean, I assume it gets better all the time, but what about that little instinct where a candidate may not interview particularly well, but there's just something about them that makes you say, you know what, let's have him back, or let's give him 3 months or whatever. I've been in that position once, the opposite, where somebody didn't interview particularly well, and fortunately, one of my colleagues said, no, there's something there. Let's stay with this guy and see what he can do, and he was terrific. But can you do that with AI? Topic for another day. The other thing I asked you, by the way, is about the fight that's going to take place in the DRC, as we heard from Tola Kele a little while ago. Tola Kele back with us at about 25 to 6. By the way, some interesting stuff going on in regard to both Sundowns and the Australian cricket team. Better for one than the other, I'll give you a clue. But she mentioned that Floyd Mayweather and Mike Tyson are going to be fighting in the DRC. Now, I had some skepticism about it. Len, though, says this. He says, rumble in the jungle, different era boxers. It's all for content. And Tate John, it means nothing. Mike and Floyd just looking to get a payday from a Netflix or Prime Video. If Maradona and Pele were alive, I bet they too would be made to play against each other. Len suggesting that don't take this too seriously. 13 minutes past 5.
EWN Traffic.
EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Pretoria's tricky right now. Karabo Chali is on top of it. Here he is.
Yeah, driving through mainland heading towards Linwood, you can expect about a 30-minute delay on the N1 northbound between the R21 Flying Saucer interchange and the Proof Plus interchange. Hatfield, expect delays approaching the intersection of Linwood Road and Brooklyn Road due to faulty traffic lights in the area. Hermanstad leaving the Pretoria CBD. There's traffic pressure on Eskiam Pahlele between Boom Street and the R80. Constantia Kloof, traffic sluggish N1 South from Bayers Nodia to 14th Avenue. That's if you are leaving Rudeport heading towards the Soweto area. And in Bedford View, you can still expect about an hour delay. N3 South from Linksfield Road to Van Buren. This is due to an earlier stationary truck. As a result, traffic is also a bit sluggish coming in from Kempton Park, heading into Bedfordview R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Gilulis interchange. Rivonia, traffic sluggish on Rivonia Road between 12th Avenue and Witkoppen Road. Poles off, we still have slow-moving traffic on Witkoppen Road between Main Road and Stonehaven. Sunning Hill, also bumper-to-bumper traffic on Witkoppen Road between Rivonia Road and Maxwell Drive. And finally, in Bryanston, expect some delays heading towards four-ways. N1 South from the Batlu interchange all the way to Winnie Mandela Drive. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
February is all about love, but your child's coach won't be feeling the love if you're late for the game. Fortunately, the Outsurance pointsmen are here to ease the traffic congestion so you can get to the school on time. With the Outsurance pointsmen on the roads for the past 20 years, we can all get where we need to be quickly and safely. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In proud partnership with 702. Show them some love online using #PointsmenLove, licensed insurer and FSP.
Driving the conversation on 702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman. Powered by Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
What do you think is really at stake here? And what are you hoping for? What do you think could be the consequences of this judgment?
What we're really hoping for is a constitutional court as the final arbiters in a constitutional democracy, that when parliament fails, when the executive fails, it's up to the constitutional court to rescue the country. That is what citizens are expecting, because the institutions we've mentioned, like you've stated, they've had weird reports or views on what transpired. Maybe it is because the career ascension of the different heads of those institutions depends on the very same president they were asked to look into.
Vuyo Zungula, parliamentary leader for the ATM.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Get your brain in the game, because the brain of 702 is back with your chance to flex your general knowledge smarts. There's 3,000 Rand up for grabs every day, and Brain of the Week wins 10,000 Rand, plus a spot in the finals to compete for the grand prize, 30,000 Rand in cash. Enter now on primemediaplus.com and then catch 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa and 702 Drive with me, John Perlman, for your chance to be the brain of 702. TCs and more on primemediaplus.com.
When choosing a medical aid, pay close attention to the benefits. Like the benefit of skipping phone calls and pharmacy queues with the convenience of the Discovery Health app. The benefit of one app that makes finding the right doctor, booking an appointment, submitting a script, having medicine delivered, and your claim paid simply effortless. Just another benefit that makes Discovery Health Medical Scheme for your health like no other. Speak to your financial advisor or visit discovery.co.za to get a quote. Discovery Health Medical Scheme is a registered medical scheme. The Discovery Health app is brought to members by Discovery Health.
Zandi Finga's Hive promo agency was growing fast, but the paperwork was catching up. What were you up against?
Challenges that were slowing down my growth was finding clients as well as organizing the promoter application.
But with Yep for online visibility and Zoho to manage her database, she has turned chaos into a well-honeyed hive.
Get Yep by Telkom Business from 249 Rand per month and Zoho from only 1,260 Rand annually. Call 10213 or click telkom.co.za. T's and C's apply. Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
When the Mahindra Fusion Fest 2026, powered by 702, brings you Z, Focalistic, Dali Wonga, Zoe Mudija, and more. Fashion, art, and music will take center stage. And so can you by playing the daily Mahindra Fusion Fest quiz on 702 for up to 10,000 Rand and 2 tickets to the fest. WhatsApp the keyword Mahindra to 072-702-1702 with your name and ID number. Every day this week from 1 p.m., 702 Afternoons with Rebukile Mabocha could call you back. The Mahindra Fusion Fest 2026, powered by 702. TCs and more more on primemediaplus.com.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
20 minutes past 5 on 702 Drive. Unemployment statistics or employment statistics, I suppose, depends on how you look at it. I guess we look at both. Released today, though, for Q4 of 2025, i.e. the last 3 months of last year. Let's focus on what appears to be a very good sign. The construction industry has seen the creation of 35,000 jobs. It's a sector that I'm sure you know, and if you work in it, you certainly don't need me to tell you, that has faced a lot of difficulties over many years. But is this a turning point? Roy Mnisi is Executive Director at Master Builders South Africa. Mr. Mnisi, welcome, and thanks very much for your time. If we were to disaggregate, break down that 35,000 figure, are these jobs on big projects, small projects? Who's building and who's hiring? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, John, and afternoon to the listeners of 702. It's good to be on your show. John, indeed, good numbers there, very much encouraging for us. We ended the 2005 on a positive note. We're starting 2026 on a positive note as well. So that can only mean one thing, that the industry is gradually recovering from the ruins of COVID-19 as well as the sluggish economic growth. To get straight to your question, John, as to where do we see those employments, I would say it's in all categories. We have seen a lot of work happening in what I'll call minor works projects. We have seen a lot of work happening as well in what I will call mega projects, such as building of roads, building of bridges, and so forth. So it's not one area, it's a combination of different areas of the construction sector.
I want to focus on mega projects and ask you this. I don't assume necessarily that all mega projects are government money, but I would think many, or if not most of them are. Are we starting to see an unlocking of that government bottleneck? Because you will have sat through, Mr. Mnisi, many State of the Nation addresses where the country was going to be turned into a building site, but the dividends haven't always been evident. Have we got an unblocking of opportunity now?
We still have some bottlenecks, John. We still have some challenges, but it's getting much better. If you look at some of the mega projects, I will use one area, water, for example. We have seen a lot of investors coming in and willing to fund some of the mega projects that relate to water in the country. So yes, indeed, we do get that, but government as well is trying to improve its capacity to deliver this kind of project, because there's a realization that it needs to move from planning, budgeting, and start to implement these projects. That's what we need to do, and I'm glad that government is realizing that, and that it's seen on the ground. We begin to see that happening.
Do we need to also, in enjoying this moment and hoping it's a springboard for more quarters of the same, Mr. Mnisi, also need to look at downstream and upstream suppliers? I mean, this must surely be good for people who make timber, import or manufacture nails and screws, cement manufacturers, and perhaps also for the logistics business that needs to move all this stuff around.
Yes, indeed, John. Everybody stands to benefit. You will note that the construction sector cut across other sectors, and it's an enabler to the fulfillment of development of the other sectors like your roads and transport, energy, ICT, and et cetera. So the value chain is big, and definitely a lot of sectors are going to benefit from the development and from the gains of this construction sector.
And just a final one. I mean, as your members and people in construction generally start crewing up, are they going sort of back to their books, i.e., okay, we didn't have work for John 2 years ago, but let's bring him back? Or is this also opening up opportunities for new entrants, younger people who, maybe have academic or trade qualifications, but haven't had a chance to really get their hands on some real work?
Indeed, John, it does. In the past, we used to see what I'll call established firms and construction companies dominating the playing field. You may argue that the case is still the same, but it's not. There are a lot of SMMEs that are coming up with
Right.
the requisite skills, with good ideas on the table where we can begin to see the change in terms of how we run the business of construction. So there's a lot that is happening, and I think in future that will be driven mainly by the SMMEs and the young people that are joining the construction sector.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Roy Mnisi, Executive Director at Master Builders South Africa. Roll on Q1 of 2026. I really hope that growth continues, particularly as he spelled out all the different up and downstream opportunities and cross-cutting, spreading of the money and the love. So if you work in construction or connect to the industry in some way, shape or form, if you've had a good couple of quarters, please ring and tell us about it, and particularly what kind of building you're actually doing or servicing. I'd really like to know more about it. 26 minutes past 5.
In the last 24 hours, this is what's happened in your world.
Former Johannesburg Mayor Herman Mashaba has thrown his hat in the ring to reclaim the city of Johannesburg's mayoral chains. Mashaba is one of 5 Action SA members who were interviewed to become the party's mayoral candidate. Mashaba says he's not threatened by Helen Zilla's campaign to become the city's mayor.
I'm dealing with someone who, when she looks at me, she doesn't see a 66-year man, she sees a boy, which is an advantage for me because I know I was never a boy.
Meanwhile, the ANC and EFF have yet to announce their mayoral candidates, while Kenny Gunene will lead the Patriotic Alliance's campaign.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
Growing a business is a 24/7 job. In fact, 55% of small business owners say they can never switch off. Usually it's personal moments like missed date nights and long overdue holidays that pay the price. Xero wants to help you claim one back with an emotional tax return. To enter, share a moment you missed while growing your business on Instagram stories and tag @Xero, spelled with an X. Competition ends 22 March. T's and C's apply.
Get the advantage this tax year end with Sage. No stress, no scrambling. Just seamless HR and payroll that keeps you ahead of UIF, PAYE, and employment equity. All in one smart cloud solution. With automated compliance, real-time accuracy, and simplified HR and payroll. Give your business the tax year end advantage. That's Sage. Visit tax.sage.co.za today.
When your business needs strength, reliability, and serious capability, look no further than Peugeot Professional Pickup Range. Built tough for South African conditions, Peugeot pickups are engineered for fleets, professionals, and the agricultural heroes who keep this country moving. From rugged load capacity to fuel-efficient performance, these pickups work as hard as you do. Whether you're building, delivering, or farming, Peugeot has a model that's ready for the job. Visit your nearest Peugeot dealership today and power your business with the confidence of Peugeot Professional. Landtrek, it's pretty but tough.
EWN Business.
Okay, back to the markets we go. Closed in South Africa, but plenty to review. And of course, there's the Money Show ahead between 6 and 8. Here's Stephen.
John, good afternoon. You might regret coming to the markets today. I'm afraid the story of the dollar strengthening, the rand weakening, the gold price falling off a little bit, all of that continuing quite strongly in the last hour. And the JSE All Share actually ending the day down 1.3%, 119,410 points. Financials flat, industrials down 0.02. too. But resources down nearly 4% on the day, John. And that's because the gold price sinking to below $4,900 an ounce, the rand going above 16 rand to the dollar. So all of that having a bit of an impact as well. And you see it in mining, but you see it in other shares too. So Alpha, they're down 8%. Tiger Brands are down 5.5%. And from what I can see, there's been no statement or anything from them. But this is really about a re-rating by one of the agencies. And I'm told Anthony Modasani, who's our market commentator tonight, will have a full explanation. Goldfields down 5, Harmony down 5 as well. What you would expect, really. Platinum down 2, so Volterra down 3.56. Total actually down nearly 4% on the day too. Sirius up 2%. Telkom had a strong update yesterday. They're up 1.81%. And just while we're in the communication space, MTN confirming just after the close, this was on Reuters, that they have decided to buy the 3 quarters that it does not own already in IHS Holdings. IHS Holdings, it stands for International Holding and Services. That means nothing. They own telecommunications towers. So these are communications towers that would be shared generally by cell phone networks. MTN deciding they're based in Nigeria. MTN buying the rest of it that it didn't own before. Basically, they're going to control that group by the looks of it. They're going to spend around $6.2 billion on that purchase. If you look at the future, actually quite a clever buy because there's going to be so much more communication across Africa over the next little while. Just to mention, the number of people who are employed going up, the percentage of people who are unemployed going down to 31.4%. I still worry about seasonality. We'll talk more about this on the Money Show. But hopefully, fingers crossed, don't hold a breath, but come close to it. All of those things that the trend is reversing and we are creating jobs, particularly for younger people. The numbers seems to suggest that we are. In the US, markets down again, John, particularly it seems because of concerns around AI disruption. Also, people still watching those inflation figures. The Dow Jones is down 0.5%. The Nasdaq is down 1%. The S&P 500 is down 0.6%. The gold price, as I say, much lower today, $4,861.10. Platinum, $2,007.02 an ounce. Brent crude, $67.59. The rand to the dollar, 16.08. To the euro, 19.01. To the British pound, 21.75. On the Money Show tonight, obviously the unemployment numbers. We'll talk sugar, because it's sweet and we can, and the big changes that we're seeing in that industry. We will talk about prime and home loan and what it means, the end of prime, which I think is the final in the Transformers saga, wasn't it? The end of prime? I can't remember.
I never saw it, What is it,
really?
A film?
The Transformers. You never saw Transformers?
I mean, people just nodding knowingly. I've seen virtually nothing of cultural significance, it would appear. I never saw it that way, but it's becoming very, very evident.
It's about toys,
okay.
Which is why it's...
Missed it.
Yeah, maybe watch the first one. I don't know if I would start with any of the others. And then also we will be speaking in Personal Finance tonight about how you can't control the markets, which I suppose, sadly, is probably true. Stephen Critters, EWN Business.
Thanks, Stephen. Stephen on from 6 o'clock until 8, 27 minutes right now to 6 o'clock. Mbali Dlamini standing by with everything she's managed to dig out about what's happening here and further afield. Here she is.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. President Cyril Ramaphosa has extended the deployment of the army in the fight against crime to the Eastern Cape. The province has been added to the program following last week's announcement that the army will be deployed to the Western Cape and Gauteng to help police fight gang violence and illegal mining. Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia told the State of the Nation address debate this afternoon that the South African National Defence Force will be deployed to the 3 provinces in the next 10 days. In the Eastern Cape, he says that deployment will target organised crime, including rampant extortion.
I confirm that the National Commissioner of the South African Police Service and the Chief of our Army met yesterday to finalize the deployment plan, which will begin in the next 10 days. And by the direction of the President, I can confirm that the deployment will include the Eastern Cape.
While parts of Johannesburg are beginning to see gradual improvement in water supply, affected residents have shared harrowing accounts of how they have struggled to cope over the past few weeks. Several areas, including the southern suburbs and many communities in the northern parts of the city, went weeks without running water. The shortages were caused by system failures at Rand Water, which severely disrupted pumping to communities across the province. Although Johannesburg Water says its systems are gradually recovering, many taps remain dry and water pressure is still low in some areas. Alpha Ramashwana reports.
In the suburban parts of West Dean, a usually quiet, high-walled community, frustration is growing as dry taps have become the norm. 72-year-old Lisa Lowe welcomed EWN into her home, where the first thing visible was dozens of water bottles lined up in her kitchen filled with rainwater. Beneath her kitchen chair sits a large red container, which she uses to store water for preparing her daily meals. As she kneels to pull out the container, she says this has now become her unfortunate reality.
Well, I can use this for cooking once I've boiled it in the kettle, and I can boil it for a bath. Then here in this corner, I have water that I've bought. So this is my drinking water.
Meanwhile, Johannesburg Water says while there are slight improvements, some of its systems remain strained. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Johannesburg.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has paid tribute to veteran U.S. civil rights activist Reverend Jesse Jackson. Ramaphosa says Jackson's campaigns against apartheid were a towering contribution to the global anti-apartheid cause. Earlier today, Jackson's family confirmed his passing at the age of 84. Jackson was a dynamic speaker and a successful mediator in international disputes. In 2013, he was awarded South Africa's National Order of the Companions of Tambo in silver for his contribution to the fight against apartheid. Presidency spokesperson Vincent Magwenya.
On behalf of all South Africans, President Ramaphosa extends his condolences to the Jackson family, the Rainbow Push Coalition, and the many organizations within the American civil rights movement and in causes elsewhere in the world who were inspired by the Reverend Jesse Jackson's principles and leadership.
A partly cloudy Wednesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Lows of between 14 and 15 degrees and highs of between 26 and 28.
Midrand, slow-moving traffic heading towards Centurion. N1 northbound from the Butler interchange to New Road in Glen Austin. Still in Midrand. There's heavy delays on Allendale Road between Mastiff and the R55. And driving through Menden heading towards Linwood. Expect about a 30-minute delay. N1 north from the R21 Flying Saucer interchange to the Proof Plus interchange.
A top story in EWN, President Cyril Ramaphosa has extended the deployment of the army in the fight against crime to the Eastern Cape.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
I have to say, I love the fact that you featured such top talent to voice the game. You've got your Lazola Gola, you've got Ntate Jerry Mofokeng, Tumi Morake, Mam Abigail Kubeka. How did you go and get the best of the best?
I think that was crucially important for us because I think in the last few years we've particularly seen almost the Wakandification, some people call it, of the African accent. So for us, as much as possible, we wanted to try and get voice actors who sounded like they were from that place. And for us, it would have been a waste of time to not have African actors and accents playing those roles.
Ben Myers, CEO and Creative Director at Nyamakop.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
Whether you love watching great films or dream of making them, the Joburg Film Festival, in partnership with MultiChoice Group, a Canal Plus company, from the 3rd to the 8th of March, has something for you. Experience powerful local and international cinema on the big screen and tap into the JBX Talks, where the people shaping film unpack the craft, the business, and the future of storytelling. It's more than a festival. It's a front row seat to the world of film. Book your tickets now at joburgfilmfestival.co.za.
The Checkers extravaganza is now on, with over 1,500 deals every week. Like Cape Point frozen prawn meat 400 grams for $89.99. Clover Long Life milk 1 litre 6-pack for $94.99. Save 25 Rand. And Baker's mini cheddars or biscuits 200 grams, any two for 70 Rand. Save 24 Rand. Valid until 22 February. Only at Checkers, Checkers Hyper, or shop on 6060.
Mzansi, you don't want to miss out on playing Powerball and Powerball Plus for 64 million Rand in total estimated jackpots this Tuesday. Play Powerball for an estimated 42 million and Powerball Plus for an estimated 22 million Rand today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app or cell phone banking. Panda Pusher Play. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. Itube is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
John, you know, I haven't understood quite why people haven't worked out that foot-and-mouth disease is literally what it says on the packaging. It's the cow hoof and the cow mouth. That meat has been proven safe to eat now. So to me, it sounds like something else is happening. All the latest research says it's perfectly safe. It's highly unlikely to jump over from human to, from the bovine to the human. So it makes you wonder what else is happening.
Hey, I know this Tyson Mayweather fight is just an exhibition and money-making thing. But wouldn't it be awesome to see Mike Tyson just flatten him? Just once. It'd be so nice. Okay, from there.
I personally think people do not take the time to see whether they fall within the requirements when they are playing for a post. And just like Karabo said, that he accompanied his cousin to go and apply, and there were thousands and thousands of people queuing to apply for a post. And this demotivates people. But one thing that I've noticed, people do not check to see whether they qualify, they fall within the requirements of the certain post. We advertise a post for 2 people in January, and we receive over 400 applications, 400 CVs. Out of those 400 CVs, only 11 qualified and fell within the requirements of this post. And out of the 11, 5 were shortlisted, and we actually only one person came for an interview after 5 that were shortlisted.
So, I mean, if you didn't pick up the question that prompted that contribution, I was just asking, with the massive joblessness out there and the extreme desperation so many people are feeling, what is it like actually being the person who is having to sift through applications? Or maybe you're part of a team, but we're hearing just huge numbers for every post offered, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people applying. Somebody mentioned earlier that they use AI to filter through some of the applications, to which somebody else responded, well, that's some CV screening jobs lost to AI. There's so many factors to consider, but clearly if you're getting hundreds and hundreds of applications in, you do need some help, I would have thought. 17 minutes now to 6 o'clock.
EWN Sport.
Tolakele Mganga has the very latest sport, keeping an eye on Sundowns and cricket stories and a fight in Zaire. Tyson versus Mayweather in DRC. What are your thoughts?
I think we're a little too old, John.
Yes.
I know people are excited for us to roll back the years.
Are people excited? Okay.
But I just think the two of them are too old, and all these former boxers coming back to kind of revive the sport, that should be a concern for the sport itself.
Yes, absolutely. That's a very good point. Maybe we'll talk about it closer to fight time. I know we had a boxing analyst on talking about at the time of the Tyson-Jake Paul fight, and he was just saying how sad it made him. But on with what you've got. You've got a rich mix as always.
Thanks so much, John. And bowling consultant Albie Morkel says the T20 World Cup starts now for the Proteas, having secured their passage into the Super 8s. They'll look to continue their winning run at the tournament when they face the UAE tomorrow morning. After that clash, South Africa will take on pre-tournament favourites India in Sunday's opening Super 8 match.
It's going to be all good games. Yes, the pressure, there will be more pressure on those games because as you move later towards the playoffs. But I feel we've got a very experienced group, bowlers and batters. So guys that's been exposed to that, whether it's in IPL or other leagues. Yes, international cricket is a little bit different, but guys that can handle that pressure.
Ronwen Williams is set to equal Neil Tovey's mark of 519 league and cup starts. That's if he plays in goal for Mamelodi Sundowns in tomorrow night's Betway Premiership clash against Orlando Pirates. Even though it's a home game for the Buccaneers, the clash will be played at the FNB Stadium rather than the Orlando Amstel Arena. That's a switch Adeslam Madu has embraced.
A field is a field. As long the grass is green, respect the norm of the FIFA. If we have a good pitch, wide pitch, I think we are at home everywhere in South Africa. For me, it's just that we played in that fantastic stadium to give the opportunity to lovers of football in South Africa to attend to such a game. I think the clubs and the league did really a good choice.
Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust have accused the club of selectively editing the written version of what was said at a fans' meeting last month. They met with representatives of Spurs board 8 days before manager Thomas Frank was sacked and claimed that the club omitted a section outlining concerns about the risk of relegation from the Premier League and how belief generated from winning the Europa League had been lost. The Trust have reminded the club of the importance of publishing a full record of the points that they raised, adding that transparency is integral to their role and in dealings with the club. And switching over to boxing, where Tyson Fury insists he's still in his prime as he prepares for another return to the ring, this time without a trainer. Fury will fight Anslagbek Murdomov on the 11th of April in his first appearance since December 2024. That's when he suffered a second straight defeat to Alexander Usyk.
I feel fresh, I feel good. And if I was on a decline, I'd say it. I'd be the first to say, you know what, I don't think I've got it no more. And I won't box, but I don't feel as if I've lost anything. I feel like I'm in my prime still. I feel fast, I feel good moving, I feel everything's really good.
Tholakele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. At 14 minutes now to 6. Karabo Chale, how are we looking?
While driving through Alex heading towards Germiston, you can still expect about an hour delay. N3 South from Marlborough Drive all the way to Van Buren due to a stationary vehicle. As a result, there's also about a 20-minute delay traveling from Kempton Park into Bedford View. That's the R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Kilulis interchange. Parktown, Joburg CBD, traffic bottlenecked. This is on the M1 South. From Killarney Bends to the Crown interchange. There's also about a 20-minute delay in the Poles-off area on Witkoppen Road between Main Road and Stonehaven. Sunning Hill, bumper-to-bumper traffic on Witkoppen Road between Rivonia Road and Maxwell. In Midrand, heading towards Centurion, there's slow-moving traffic. N1 northbound from the Patlu interchange to New Road. Kyalami also expect delays on Allendale Road between Herrick Lawn and the R55. Driving through Mainland, traffic remains sluggish on the N1 northbound. This is between the R21 Flying Saucer interchange and the Proof Plus interchange. And in Hermanstad, traffic pressure on Eskiam Pahlele. This is between Boom Street and the R80. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car on the way to the hospital, carrying an elderly couple, playfully bantering about who their first grandchild will look like.
Not your business.
The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic. It's bringing two generations together. Every story is different, and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005, in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Stay with 702 Afternoon Drive with John Perlman. Brought to you by Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
You're with John Perlman
On 702.
702 Drive, we're going to get to some music in a moment. I just want to share this, though, because we've been talking about job recruitment, unemployment, sifting through CVs and AI. And I just want to throw this in the mix from Ross before we go on to something else. We'll come back to this topic, I think, in days to come. But Ross says, I've been job hunting for over a year and I'm an IETF, the people that design the internet, contributor. I don't think either the AIs or the humans know what to make of my CV. Sadly. Interesting point. I mean, we'll, as I say, explore the way in which AI shapes these kinds of things. I'm sure there'll be a reason to and an opportunity for us to do that coming up. 11 minutes now to 6.
John is on X.
at John Perlman.
Song time, and we were talking a little bit earlier about what kind of theme we could cover. Kabazela, you were finding a song out of the past that found its way into the present but needed either a movie or a TV series to achieve that, if I understood you right.
Yeah, so I was traveling to golf on Saturday morning and this song came on the radio. It's Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush.
Mm-hmm.
And it was released in 1985
Okay.
by Kate Bush. And at that stage, it reached number 3 on the UK charts. Then all these years later, 2022 arrived and they used this song in Stranger Things, very, very popular series on Netflix. And the song blew up and it had a resurgence and it reached number 1 in 8 countries and there's over 1 billion streams. So without that series, the song wouldn't have reached the heights that it has now, right? I mean, number 1 in so many countries and 1 billion streams. So what we want to do today is we want to ask our 702 family is to think of those songs that were maybe popular at one time, then they completely disappeared. And then they got exposed to maybe a new audience via a movie, via a series, or via TikTok these days. A lot of songs.
Or an advert even, perhaps.
Even an advert, yeah, you can add that one as well. So songs that were popular but have found a resurgence and, you know, possibly got exposed to a complete new audience and blew up once again.
So remind me, Running Up the Hill or That Hill?
Running Up the Hill.
The Hill. Kate Bush from the mid-1980s, 85, you said, and it's part of what series again?
Stranger Things on Netflix.
No, didn't see that one.
And I never heard the song until
Okay.
it came on that particular show.
Okay, so here we go. Kate Bush, enjoy while you are enjoying. Think about a song that maybe you'd never heard of, but you got introduced to it by a TV series or something similar as Kabazela set out. Or maybe it's a song you knew, loved, perhaps even forgot about, or continue to love, but were able to say to a younger person in your life, hey, listen to this. I know this song. And they say, what is it? Yeah, nice things happen when music gets brought back in that way. Let's enjoy Kate Bush. Think of your selections and share them with me on 072 702 1702.
It doesn't hurt me. Do you wanna
Yeah, that is a fantastic song, and I haven't seen the TV series, but maybe I'll just check it out online because I'm fascinated to know what kind of pictures were atmosphericized, made more atmospheric or whatever, by what really is a terrific piece of music. So your selections, please. 072 702 1702. We're getting some good ones already, and we're going to play them as soon as we possibly can.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
You've been mayor before. Looking at how you left the city and what has happened to it since, what's your impression?
Very, very sad state of affairs. I'm personally warning all the cadres who are occupying positions because of their close proximity to the politicians. In the event Action SA takes over, they must run.
How much does the entry of Helen Zille into this race complicate things for you?
Makes it easy, actually, because when she looks at me, she doesn't see a 66-year man, she sees a boy.
What should residents of Johannesburg bear in mind about Herman Mashaba between now and the time they have to make their X?
Just remember that you have someone who cannot really be bought.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
For over a decade, Aluma Capital has had one simple mission: to help you secure the financial future you deserve. Over the past 10 years, they've empowered thousands of clients with personalized strategies, expert advice, and impressive returns of up to 13.2%. Whether it's growing wealth, securing retirement, or planning for the unexpected, Aluma Capital is there every step of the way. So visit aluma.co.za today. Aluma Capital is a licensed FSP. T's and C's apply.
This is financial year end. This is financial year end supercharged with the help of Zero Small Business Accounting Software. This is you talking to your accountant or bookkeeper. This is you talking to your accountant or bookkeeper with the help of Zero Small Business Accounting Software. So supercharge your business with the help of Zero and blast past financial year-end stress. Try Zero free for 30 days. Terms apply. Search Zero with an X.
702 Drive with John Perlman was proudly brought to you by Telkom Business. Possible begins here.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Good afternoon, Tate John. So the song is Searching My Soul by Vonda something. It was a theme song from Ally McBeal. And I personally had never heard of the artist even until Ally McBeal, but I could sing every single line of the song because of Ally McBeal.
John, hi. David here from Boxburg. Great show as always. My song is The Who's Who Are You? I think a late 1970s song that became popular in the CSI TV series is the theme song. Thank you.
Okay, so that was The Who from 1978. Who Are You? Found its way into the CSI movies, I think he said, yeah? All the way back from an album that was called Who Are You? There we go.
Hi, John. Stephen here. Talk to you in a mo, but one of the big songs that had such a big boost was Bohemian Rhapsody. Huge in the 70s. Wayne's World came along. A whole new audience loved it.
Hi, John. It's Papa again from Lenesia. A song. It will be Bella Ciao by Cassie the Papa. On what the series is, the series is Money Heist. Yes. Thank you, John.
Una mattina mi sono alzato, oh vela ciao, vela ciao, vela ciao, ciao, ciao. Una mattina mi sono alzato e ho trovato l'invasor, oh partigiano, portami via, oh vela ciao, vela ciao, vela ciao, 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 partigiano, portami via, che mi sento di morire.
Well, for once in a long time, I can actually say I did watch Money Heist. Couple of other songs, people referencing Pretty Woman, Roy Orbison, that's from the 60s. Then Julia Roberts and Richard Gere. And now there is a musical of, I think, Pretty Woman that is coming to Cape Town first and then on to Johannesburg. This one from, I don't know who it's from, says Karate Kid movie recently remembered Glory of Love by Peter Cetera. That's all we got time for. I wish we could do more, but we can't. I'm John Perlman. Have a great Tuesday. Good night.
And now, The Money Show.
With Stephen Grootes, live on 92.7 and 106 FM. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
And DSTV channel 856.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by Absa CIB. Discover the latest trends shaping digital assets across Africa. Download the Absa Africa